Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another Basement Radio OK podcast, BRAP Rant. Real quick, guys, the live chat, if you guys can hear me okay, please let me know. I'm using, I'm using Streamlabs. I haven't used Streamlabs in quite some time, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. So if you can, please let me know. I would definitely appreciate it. All right, Sharif says I'm good. It's quite some time, so... All right, cool. All right, perfect. So you guys can hear me perfect. All right, awesome. So I haven't done a BRAP rant in quite some time. Ruckers say, is it heard? Reducer says a little low. All right, try to speak a little bit louder in the mic here. Perhaps it's a little low. Heard, thank you for that, for the compliment on the intro, saying it's dope. That was actually done by the one and only Graphic God, Jay the Graphic God. You can find him on Twitter. He has done all the BRAP branding. Everything that you're seeing here, he has done. And I want to give a big shout out to him. And, you know, he's just done fantastic work. Big shout out again to everyone in the live chat, guys. I know this was kind of a last-minute rant, so I appreciate you guys showing up here kind of at the 11th hour, if you will. I'm going to drop the link here in the live chat. If you guys can go ahead and retweet that right now. Just dropped it in the live chat. And, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Would mean a lot. And if you're new, subscribe and hit that bell notification so that get notified when we go live. Now, I am supposed to have a special guest, J-Dub Kratos. J-Dub should be here shortly, I think. I know he was going out to get breakfast, I believe. So, anyhow. That being said, wanted to talk about a couple things. First and foremost, by the way, we were just talking. We had a conversation before we went live this week's BRAP. By the way, if you didn't check out this week's BRAP, definitely check it out. Fantastic show. We had game journalist for PC Magazine, Tony Polanco was on, and we had Hogue from Hogue Law, who is the curator of the Virtual Legality podcast. You definitely need to check Tony and Hogue Law out. Fantastic guests. We had a great conversation about Game Pass. Is it the future? And we talked a little bit about Ghosts of Tsushima. Just a great show. Just a great overall show. So, all right, guys. So let's get into this rant here. A couple things. As I mentioned, we had a conversation before we went live, with this week's BRAP about the kind of the summer of gaming and the different events that we've had over the summertime. And look, we've been saying for quite some time, and I've been saying, I've been one of those, I guess, naysayers of E3, saying, maybe E3 is kind of, with PAX now. Maybe E3 needs to reinvent itself. Maybe we don't even need E3. You have EA pulling out. You get Sony not going this year, and it seemed like a reasonable thought to think that maybe E3 was done. The ESA, the association that runs E3, has been scrutinized for doxing contact information for journalists, attendees to the show. So it's been a little bit of a mess, and they've had some internal struggles from a cultural perspective. There was a article in Variety magazine about the what's up Z Black Rider, says Yo Ponies. There was an article from Variety Fair that talked about some of the internal issues at the ESA from a cultural standpoint, some of the toxicity that was there from one particular he was the what was his name? I forget his name now, and I forget his title, but he was basically the head of the association, and he's no longer there. And mind you, some of the main players that sit on the board of directors, Microsoft sits on the board of directors for the ESA. Phil Spencer is actually a board member of Sony, EA, some of the other big players in the gaming industry. And so there has been some issues internally from a culture standpoint there. The ESA sits in my home backyard of Washington, D.C. And outside of E3, they also lobby Congress, with regards to things that may potentially from a maybe legal standpoint. They're there to kind of lobby for legislation that may positively benefit or lobby against even legislation that may negatively impact the gaming industry. So, but with what Jeff Keighley did his Summer of Gaming, which wasn't bad. Like that's okay. He took part of the Halo Infinite reveal, and he did the pre-show for the Xbox game showcase. But I will say this: there's a lot of stuff that I missed this summer because, like, I did catch the Ubisoft presentation, I did catch EA, but there's some other things that kind of that just fell off the radar for me. And the Iron Lords actually put out a great the ILP there, the lordsofgaming.net website. They had a schedule of all the events, which was actually great that they did that, because had you not been keeping up with the times per se, you would have missed a lot of these events or wouldn't have known when they were taking place. And so the one thing I think that this pandemic has shown us with the cancellation of E3 this year, this was actually supposed to be my first this year was going to be my first E3. I was actually going to go with the Iron Lords, Ains from Seasoned Gaming, Boom from Double Barrel Gaming. We had a couple of the BRAP guys coming, Eric Jackson, Gaming Forte. Yeah, it was gonna be a blast. Like, I had my airfare booked. We had the Airbnb booked, and it didn't happen because of the pandemic. And I was just like, I was disappointed that I couldn't go to E3 this year. But then I thought with Sony leaving, and that was kind of a bummer that Sony was going to be there my first year. I thought to myself, oh my God, like what's going to happen to E3? Like, Sony's a big time player, right? It's only maybe a matter of time before other people leave, like maybe Microsoft, whatever the case is. But what this pandemic has shown me is that maybe we still do need an E3. We need a week that is solely focused on the gaming industry, like E3, because I think what we saw this summer probably wasn't as streamlined as it could have been. It was just, and I get it. A lot of this was probably piecemeal at the 11th hour because of the pandemic. But look, even here we are. It's August. Today's August 1st. Happy August, everyone. Perhaps maybe we are. Punk Kiddish is. I was supposed to go to E3 too, bro. Yeah, Punk. We could do. DMV would have been representing at E3, man. We could have gone. But the thing the thing that's really, for me at least, is that at least E3 was kind of a focal point. It kind of kept everything in line, and. No, we know E3's coming back. Like, they've already made that announcement. Eagles fan 76, yeah, E3's dead talk. Well, we are learning we need E3. Yeah, we are. And I really want to see E3 come back. I really feel like we need E3 next year, because here we are, and I think a lot of us are maybe growing impatient. At least I am. I'm growing impatient. I want to know how much these next generation consoles are going to cost. Well, at least the PlayStation 5 console. I'm probably not getting a Series X. Definitely getting a PlayStation 5 day one. And let me preface it, not because I think Series X sucks or anything like that. It's because I just don't feel like I need to have a Series X right now. Very capable gaming PC. I am good to go for the time being. All right, so still getting a Lockhart, question mark. I think Sharif, am I getting a Lockhart? Is that what you're asking me? All right, so yeah, so we don't have prices. We don't have prices of the or a pre-order date for the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5. Mind you, I think all of this, we would have known all of this, right? We would have known all of this, guys, by the time we would have known all this in June, basically about 2 months ago now, I think. Forte, we do not want to hear that $600 price tag, sir. I tell you, Forte, if let me tell you something. If Forte is right about the $600 price point, this man is going to be screaming from the top of the mountains that I told you so. But I think Forte, I think that it's not $600 because you have seen something. You did see a little nugget, $399, sir. And I think you might know what that is, Forte. But I get it. You don't want to spill the beans. You probably can't. Maybe NDA, something like that. Hey, everyone in the live chat, I'm going to drop the link again. Please retweet. Dropping it right now. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Really would mean a lot. Really appreciate the support of the community. This channel has grown quite a bit, the last month or so. And but look, I really think we would have had the pre-order day. We would have had the price of the consoles. We would have known how much we're paying for these consoles, and we know nothing, nada. And here we are in August, and I think we're going to get the price. I think they're going to say, hey, you know what, guys? This is when you can pre-order. This is the release date for the consoles. Now, I get maybe some of this has to do with the pandemic, maybe, shoring up. I think the pandemic is a fluid situation. It could change in any given moment. We know that, things in China at least are at least better. That manufacturing has picked up. But and I believe Hogue mentioned this on BRAP this week. There's still some supply constraint issues, some manufacturing issues potentially in China still. And so maybe given the unique circumstances, Sony and Microsoft are trying to figure that out right now. Like what's going on here? Like how, are we going to be able to meet our shipment dates? Are we going to be able to get enough product out? And then, they're playing a little bit of game of chicken right now too. Nobody wants to blink first with the price point. I do believe that PlayStation 5 is going to launch at $499, and I do think that the all digital version is going to launch up at $400. And Hogue actually on BRAP this week gave a little spicy take on a theory that he has that maybe Microsoft is just going to undercut PlayStation 5 at $400 with the Xbox Series X. And woo, let me tell you, if that happened, that would be massive for Microsoft to do. Look, Microsoft has a track record, guys, of when they lose potential fights with competitors, just browbeating them and undercutting their price big time. We've seen them do this in the past. Microsoft hasn't always played nice in the sandbox, hence the antitrust suits in 1998, 22 years ago, if you guys remember that. Bill Gates sitting in front of the U.S. Congress, and that was a thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's this coming month, August, is going to be interesting. This is probably a great segue into the PlayStation 5 event rumor in 5 days. There was a rumor that PlayStation was going to have an event August 6th. I don't think that's going to happen, but apparently there is going to be a teardown. And I have heard this from a couple other sources. I think I'm going to say Red Gaming Tech even put out I believe he put out a video about the teardown, but apparently a teardown supposed to be a PlayStation 5 teardown of the PlayStation 5 console is supposed to be happening late August, and Sony themselves apparently is supposed to also announce two other games, big AAA games that are coming to PlayStation 5. What's up, Kieran Williams? So look, this summer has been like an E3 kind of extended over the summer period, right? And, why? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's great because we're getting, that slow drip of new information. But I don't know. I kind of want everything in that 1 week. I want to know everything right now. Frankly, I'm getting a little impatient here. I'm tired of, I'm tired of the hardware talk and the power narrative and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, as my man Optimus Code always says, the talent of the developers, the time and resources, money they have trumps everything else. Trumps hardware, trumps everything else. Punk Kiddish with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Punk. This is a little something from my boy Enrique. Have a great weekend. You too, Punk. Maybe, Punk, we can meet up for some Warzone later. Anthony Chipmunk says, tear down RDNA 3, boy. So, yeah, I mean, so the PlayStation 5 RDNA 3 thing, and I've heard things about that. Look, RDNA 3 is not a thing. Essentially what the correlation between PS5 and RDNA 3 is that there will be certain customized features on the PlayStation 5 that will make their way to RDNA 3. Like Sony, and a lot of people don't know, Sony and AMD have a very, very incestuous relationship, a very close-knit relationship. Like, they're very tight. Like, apparently, like, people at AMD, like, you play nice with Sony, basically. That's how kind of deep their relationship is. And they have a lot of influence at AMD. And I've heard that from several sources. So, it's, and even some of the features, some of the PS4 features actually made their way to RDNA 2, but there are some customized features that will make their way to RDNA 3 they're going to be on the PlayStation 5, and Sony's going to be talking about that this month. But look, I mean, at the end of it, I get the tech talk is fine. I know we're, a lot of us are, techies and we like discussing new hardware, but I think the point of the issue that I have is when it starts becoming console war stuff and yada. It's like, that's like, no one's going to remember the hardware once the games start releasing too. But at the end of the day, it's all about games. It always has been. And, I gotta pick on my Xbox brethren here a little bit. I love you guys, and I get the Xbox community is excited for services. And look, don't try to pull my Xbox card because I've probably been Xbox longer than most people. I was there day one on the OG Xbox, was an Xbox Live beta tester. Was around for when the original Halo launched, and I saw people say, "Oh, if you didn't like the new Halo Infinite trailer, you're not a real Halo fan." That's bullshit. Come on. But like I said, I mean, look, the tech, it's okay. Let's get excited for the tech. I'm excited for what Microsoft's done with the Series X. It's very impressive hardware. Same thing with the PlayStation 5. But the arguing of tech is getting old now, and that's why I'm looking forward to the price reveal. But although that may be another conversation that people get lost in for a couple months. So look, long story short, I am just ready. I'm ready for the games to start coming out, for us to start seeing more games on these next generation consoles. Talis says, what about that Stealth Cuphead PlayStation drop to Enrique? Yeah, that was pretty big. That's a great game, great get for PlayStation. The studio behind Cuphead is, looking to, kind of expand the horizons, if you will. Why not, right? So, Z Black Rider says, I can't type. You can't. I'm not sure what you mean by goring. I prefer goring. Anybody know where J-Dub is? I'm a little worried about my man J-Dub. Let's see here. Let's see where J-Dub is. Jay, where are you? I'm sending him a DM. Hope my man J-Dub's okay. So, yeah, I mean, and, I've seen a lot of, marketing. Like, I see a lot of people talking about, Xbox is great because it has, free to play, which Halo with 343 Industries basically say, Halo multiplayer is going to be free to play. That's great. Not, so we can imagine that paywall behind that paywall to play multiplayer behind Xbox Live is going to go, which is a great move by Microsoft. Should definitely applaud them for that. But this checklist that I see of, it's got the most powerful console, it's most consumer friendly, blah 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 blah. It's got Flight Simulator, or it's got Grounded, and look, great. The emphasis though from that community seems to be services. And I'm like, that's a problem for me, at least, because in my opinion, the focus should always be games. Like we don't play consoles because of services per se. We play consoles because at the center of those console experiences are games. And if people are highlighting Microsoft's services, that to me is a problem. It speaks to the content problem that Microsoft has had this entire generation. Now, obviously, they have made better strides in bringing more content to the Game Pass platform, but I'll say this: first-person games have always and will always define a console. It's never services. It's never consumer-friendly practice. Well, to an extent, yes, consumer-friendly practice. I will say that, but it always goes down to games. It always has, and I don't understand why that community is not a little more demanding as it relates to quality first-party content, compelling first-party content. Not to say that there's anything wrong with Grounded. If you enjoyed, congrats to Obsidian. They had 1 million players on Grounded, which is great. But Grounded is not a game that's going to define the Xbox platform per se. It's not going to be something that really, it's not something that's going to, people are going to remember, the platform by. So Z Black Rush says, Game Fortune says, I'll argue that, but Enrique, the games are the, yeah, I get the games are in the service. What I'm saying is that they're highlighting the services per se, and not the individual games. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, let's not get lost in the services. It's always, the focal point is always the games, right? And hold on a sec here, guys. Trying to figure out where J-Dub is. It's just an interesting, for me, it's just an observation, guys. I'm not saying, just an observation, my opinion, where in the Nintendo camps and the Sony camps, you see more conversation revolved around, like right now, Ghost of Tsushima right now is just hitting. It sold, I think, 2.4 million copies in 3 days. Everyone on my PlayStation, everybody on my PlayStation friends list right now is playing that game. And I just feel like when that community, the Xbox community, is focused on, backwards compatibility and consumer. Look, those are great things, but I want to see better from Microsoft. I want to see more. I want to see bangers. And the Halo Infinite trailer wasn't that. Now, I'm not saying Halo Infinite cannot be good. It can be good, but it's not where I think it needs to be right now. So, now look, I'm certainly excited for the future of what Microsoft first-party studios are going to be. I just really hope that they really put out some genre-defining titles, games that just like make you put down the controller and say, "Wow." I haven't had that feeling for Microsoft in a long time. I've had it quite a bit this generation with Sony, last generation with Microsoft. I did. Gears of War comes to mind. Remember when Dom loses Maria? Wow, what a punch of the gut that was. All right, so look, and I'm not trying to say, again, I'm not trying to hate on Microsoft. This is just my opinion. Z Black Rider says, BRAP, if you want to play PlayStation games, stick to PlayStation, leave Microsoft alone. Yeah, and that's Z Black Rider. That's pretty much what I've done. I've been, and I'm still in the Xbox ecosystem. I have Game Pass Ultimate for my PC because I'll play certain games that drop on Game Pass on my PC. But I think from a first party perspective, I want to see more. And Z Black, like I understand. People say this a lot to me. If you want PlayStation games, stick to PlayStation. Leave Microsoft alone. But why can't we as gamers like me? Why is it not okay to say I want better? I don't need to have, a Last of Us a clone from Microsoft. But what I do want to see is I want to see compelling gaming experiences. Like, you got to remember Halo. When Halo dropped, Halo CE dropped. Halo was a compelling, story-driven, sci-fi, narrative-driven action-adventure experience. It was awesome. It turned the industry upside down. It turned the industry upside down. And, it's, and by the way, I'm excited for Fable. I think Fable could potentially be something spectacular from Playground. But it's okay to want to demand better. I don't understand why the Xbox community doesn't understand this. And it doesn't mean the Xbox sucks. It just means that, look, they just, from a first party perspective, look, they're knocking it out of the park with services. Great. But as a gamer, services fall in the back of my head, at least. It's not in the forefront of my thought process when I think of gaming and what gaming is, right? When I think about, playing games, and I think about compelling experiences, I think about, from a multiplayer perspective, playing multiplayer games that have strong gameplay mechanics. Warzone is a tremendous battle royale game, by the way. They have Activision has has knocked it out of the park with that game. I mean, it's just much better than the Black Ops edition of Battle Royale that introduced Battle Royale for Call of Duty. Warzone is just fantastic. I mean, the gameplay mechanics, the missions that they have. Excuse me. The ability to come back to life, to have your teammates revive you, the gulag. I mean, it's just fantastic. Well designed. And kudos to them. Kegan also says they're coming with games, but put those tiers down. PlayStation has no multiplayer games. Yeah, Kegan, I get that. I would concede that Sony doesn't have any multiplayer games, but guess what? They don't need to have any multiplayer games right now. Here's the thing. The multiplayer arena is very crowded. The one of the reasons why Sony was had the impact that it did early on in the industry is because it was the first shooter. It revolutionized console shooters on the console platform, and it was really the only, for its time, it was kind of the king of multiplayer shooters on consoles. It was, and then we just had this mass rush of Call of Duties and Rainbow Sixes, and all these games started coming to the console, and Halo wasn't the creme de la creme of multiplayer per se. And that's a very crowded space to get into. Now, Sony has had multiplayers, Keegan, and there is a rumor. I've heard, to your point about no multiplayer, Keegan, there is a rumor of a Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer reveal this August that I've heard. Again, that's rumor. But Keegan, Sony has had multiplayer games attached to Uncharted and The Last of Us, and The Last of Us multiplayer is actually pretty good. But it is a crowded space, but they don't need to do that right now. They just don't. And so I just think it's okay to ask for better. I don't buy that notion of, because look, I mean, a strong Microsoft first party studios putting out compelling content is going to push everyone else to do better. It is. It absolutely is. And that's what we want in the industry. We want these companies to do well, to push each other, so that, the end game is so that we win as gamers. Talos Gaming says, Enrique, how much did Marvel's Endgame cost to make, and what What's the cost of Halo Infinite again? Why does it look like that? Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit because, as I mentioned, 343i just really addressed the, what's it called? Just addressed the reveal. Chief Tommy says 343i is probably going to kill off Master Chief. It's time for a sacrifice and a new character arc to emerge. Hey, I will be okay. I would be okay with Master Chief being gone. I think. Look, Reach is one. If you guys, anyone has played Halo Reach, Reach is one of the best Halo games. It really is. I have Combat Evolved is number 1, Reach is number 2, Halo 2 is number 3 as my top 3 Halo games. Reach is a damn good game, and it shows you don't need Master Chief per se. There's enough in that universe to really make some compelling content. Halo Wars 2, those cutscenes were awesome, amazing, great story behind the behind the scenes story in Halo Wars 2 was just awesome. Yeah, Wraith the Emperor says I would like Xbox to do better, so it pushes PlayStation to do better. Me too. And look, and they are doing better. I mean, Microsoft is clearly doing much better and in much better position than they were in 2013, without a shadow of a doubt. They did a great job investing in new studios, and they did pick up some really talented developers. I mean, Tim Schafer is super talented. Whether or not you like his games, Grim Fandango or Psychonauts, he is a talented individual. If he makes a bigger game, I'd be interested to see if he makes a bigger game, if Microsoft, and that's assuming he wants to, but Microsoft gives him the resources to do that. Punk Kiddish says Master Chief is overrated and only the hardcore want him 24/7 in every game made. Yeah, it might be some truth to that, Punk. Before we get into the PlayStation 5 event, as I mentioned, probably not going to happen. I think it's going to happen later on this month, but August should be a very entertaining month. It should be good. Microsoft's got, I think, 2 more games to reveal as well, and I think they're going to drop the price point and launch date and pre-order date as well. I will say this: if you're interested in any one of these consoles, you need to immediately pre-order day one, right away, because I think there's obviously there's going to be a shortage here at launch. But you're definitely going to want to get this thing ASAP, literally. Have your hand on the key. Be like Wraith the Emperor. When I drop codes in the live chat, be like Wraith, ready to go. Hands on the keyboard, ready to go, because these things are going to go fast. All right, I'm still waiting for Jay. I'm a little worried about him. I think Jay's an hour behind me. He may have gotten times confused. I said 12:20 Eastern Standard Time, and yeah, I think he may be coming in at 1. Now that I think about it. Keegan also, Sony first party comes with bangers. We know this, but Microsoft is in the position to start cooking up some fire. Hellblade. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't disagree with that. Like I said, I mean, they did a great job putting out, buying some studio acquisitions. But I gotta say, guys, and I don't want to sound like super negative here, but it's like you ever root for a sports team that just doesn't do well? It's like the Bad News Bears. Well, I root for a team like that called the Washington Redskins, or the Washington football team as it's now known. And as good and as big of signings Dan Snyder and big time coaching hirings that Dan Snyder could pull off, there's always this ominous cloud around that franchise. And I kind of feel like this is Microsoft a little bit, and I'll get to that. And we talked about this with their messaging. Their messaging was so on point and concise in the beginning of the year, and it just fell off tremendously recently. Like, it's not good. And I just, while I'm excited about those acquisitions, Keegan, I don't know, man. Like, it's almost like Z Black, what do you know what I'm talking about? The Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, hey, Z Black, for me, it was the Washington Capitals until they won the Stanley Cup. But, it's like this. it's like this dark cloud. It's like, I don't know. It's Microsoft. It's Xbox. I don't know. It's kind of like the New York Knicks. I want them to look, guys. All jokes aside, I want them to do well. I really do. They just, you got to remember. For me, it's I was day one. I remember what it was like and how aggressive they were with the OG Xbox and the 360, and it just, I don't know what happened. It's Anyhow, enough beating up on Microsoft. Mr. Righteous Fish with the $5 super chat says, thank you. It says, I think it will be hard for Xbox to gain the mindshare back because of the games PlayStation has dropped. Examples Ghost. Yeah, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle for them to gain mindshare back. I mean, even former Microsoft employee himself, Mike Ibarra, had even said that, hey, it's very hard to regain mindshare with AA games without having compelling AAA experiences, and that's what they're going to need to get mindshare back. Chaz says Microsoft messaging went down a hill as soon as they started talking about the most important thing, the games. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, Jez, and I know you're the New Yorker. I don't know if you're a Jets fan, but I just feel like there's this, it's like the bad news bears with Microsoft, like it is with the New York Jets, it's just like, But again, I mean, Z Black Rider says it'll come. Z Black, we've been saying that for a long time. Wait till E3. Wait till next E3. Wait till this event. Wait till that event. I mean, Halo Infinite is not a confidence booster for me as somebody who's in the Xbox ecosystem. Like, that's your crown jewel, your marquee franchise, and you basically shat the bed with that reveal. I don't get it. What's going on? Like, what's going on behind closed? I really would love to be in those meetings. Jess is a Giants fan, but I know exactly what you're saying. You know what I'm saying, Jez, right? You know what I'm saying. Jets fans. Jets, Jets. All right. So, but we'll get to a little bit more Microsoft down the road with the 343i, them addressing Halo Infinite finally. Jez, by the way, we got to get you on BRAP, man. I've heard you in some other podcasts, so we got to get you on sometime soon. But look, I don't get into politics too much here on BRAP. Sometimes I do. But I thought this was interesting because it's kind of tech related. Our esteemed president, Donald Trump himself, and by the way, I am not a Trump supporter. If you are, kudos to you. But I am not a Donald Trump supporter. I am a registered Republican and probably one of the few Republicans that don't like Donald Trump. So I'll leave it at that. But Trump on Friday said that he's going to issue an order for TikTok to be banned from the United States as early as today, Saturday. And if you guys don't know, there's this ByteDance, who is a Chinese company, owns TikTok. TikTok's a Chinese app. They're seeking to keep a minority stake in the U.S. business of TikTok, which the White House, Trump has completely rejected. And so, they basically now TikTok is saying, basically what's happened is TikTok's Chinese owner is saying they're going to forego any stake to clinch a U.S. deal per source. So it looks like Microsoft now. There's a proposed deal, under a new proposed deal. ByteDance would exit completely, and Microsoft would take over TikTok in the United States, according to the source. So we have Microsoft looking over to take over TikTok. That's going to be interesting, considering what happened recently with Mixer. I don't know what to say. The Microsoft buying TikTok is going to be interesting. But I thought it was interesting that Trump was looking to ban, this particular platform. It's not the first time he's mentioned this. He's talked about this quite some time. But I would only say there's probably other bigger fish to fry in this country than TikTok for the president of the United States, or POTUS as I refer him to, than like the pandemic, maybe putting together some kind of a cohesive national strategy to combat this? Because let's face it, like the United States, it's failing big time in its response to COVID. Europe is doing a much better job. Every country outside of Brazil is doing a much better job than the most powerful, wealthiest country on the history of mankind on planet Earth right now. For whatever reason, we cannot get our shit together and figure out how to effectively control this pandemic. Everyone else has figured out how to do it. Most other countries have gone back to some semblance of normality, except for the United States. And I'll leave that there. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting, though. Microsoft buying TikTok is going to be interesting. And, I'd be interested to see if Microsoft integrates that with, Xbox. Like Sheriff said, TikTok integration, the Xbox Dash. But look, I am just going to... Look, they haven't, like, look, I know we Mixer more recently, they got rid of Mixer, it just didn't work out, which is odd considering the massive investments in bringing on Ninja and Shroud, former Twitch personalities, and, it just didn't work out for whatever reason, but they did buy Skype. Skype seems to be, well, even with Skype, I mean, from a enterprise level, at an enterprise level, they're not, like, most companies aren't using Skype anymore. They're using Microsoft Teams. And then, they own LinkedIn. LinkedIn's still doing its thing. So it's going to be interesting how TikTok plays out and wonder if it's going to, be one of those things that has some long legs under Microsoft ownership, or if it, is something that goes, something eventually goes away, sort of like Mixer. But we're going to see. Sheriff says because the U.S. is the most diverse division is inherent. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But look, when you have divisive leadership, you'll have more divisiveness, and I'll just leave it at that. Mitchie Dies a Lot says we Americans are too individualized and think too much of ourselves. Yes, I would agree with that. We're a very entitled country, right or wrong. We are. Hence the when I see people say things like, "You're violating my my rights by making me wear a mask," and what people don't realize is individual rights are limited when your individual rights infringe on the greater individual rights of prosperity or health or personal well-being of the greater community. People don't understand that, but that's how that works. So, all right, so that's going to be interesting how that works out. Obviously, TikTok is not going to be banned from the U.S. I think Microsoft, it seems like, is going to come in here, sweep this up, get them under their belt, and TikTok will be owned by Microsoft. So, going to be interesting how that plays out the next couple of days. Punk Kitchen says, we just suck. That's all. Puck, I don't know if we suck, man. I mean, you just look, like, there's some interesting cats here in the U.S., man. I tell you what, the U.S. is a wild place. I talk to people over in the U.K. and they're like, "What the fuck is going on in the U.S. right now?" I'm like, "You got me. I don't know. I'm wondering the same thing, and I live here." Anyhow, all right. Hold on. I think there might be some more TikTok news. Hold on just a sec here. Oh, no more TikTok news. Okay, something just popped up on my phone. I thought it was an update. Like they that like some kind of deal. They had kind of some kind of deal with Microsoft for sure. Like that had been confirmed, but no, that's not the case. All right. By the way, guys, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be releasing soon. I think it goes in like early Steam preview this month, I think. Anyone know anything about that? I haven't heard any updates or anything more recently about Baldur's Gate 3. Definitely a game I'm interested in, but if you guys in the live chat could actually chime in, because I think it was supposed to be released this month on Steam preview, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, speaking of Steam, Horizon Zero Dawn is hitting PC this month. Woo! Loud Noises Jerry says, I'm joining the PCMR soon. Welcome to PCMR, dude. Welcome to PCMR. It is a phenomenal experience. You will enjoy it. I love it. I said this on in the chat, in Boom's chat on Double Real Gaming yesterday. I said, I I'm already next generation. I've been next gen for almost a year now. I have an NVMe .2 SSD. I have DLSS 2.0, ray tracing, multi-core CPU. I'm good. High frame rates, 60 plus and higher. 144 megahertz refresh rate for my monitor, and 1 millisecond input lag. Not too bad, not too bad. Anthony Chipmunk says 0 yawn. Too funny. I loved our Horizon Zero Dawn. Happy it's coming to PC. I'm going to double dip. I did pick up Death Stranding, which I beat on PlayStation 4. Did pick that up as well on PC and absolutely love it. The higher frames really make a difference in that game. It runs, that movement, that jank, and the traversal so much more so improved on PC because of the higher frame rates. Hey, Talus. So, Talus, you said Baldur's Gate, one of your favorite games. Is it coming this month, the Steam preview? Because that's definitely, and I think that's PC only, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's one of the few games that's actually coming to PC. All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to mute a little bit. My son came knocking on the door. He's playing a game. Tell me that he took some dudes out or something. I don't know. I forget what game he's playing. Something War Simulator or something? I don't know what it is. By the way, has anyone seen J-Dub? He's supposed to be here. All right, guys, so let's get into Halo Infinite. 343 Industries finally addressed the Halo Infinite reveal. They responded to some of the fans' concern on Waypoint, and in a blog post, community manager John, I'm going to butcher his last name, Junsek, said that that team in Redmond had basically heard feedback shared by a lot of disgruntled Xbox fans over the showcase, the Halo Infinite showcase. And look, look, guys, I said this earlier. This is your crown jewel. This is your crown jewel. And you did a terrible showing of an iconic franchise. Let me just tell you, if you don't understand the importance of Halo to Microsoft, Halo is to Microsoft as Mario is to Nintendo. Like, you can't drop the ball like this with your most popular franchise. This gives me pause. This is why I made that comparison earlier, the Bad News Bears and Microsoft and Xbox. Because it wasn't all bad. Like the gameplay mechanics looked pretty solid, I thought. I thought it was kind of a return to classic Halo. So that looked good. I'm not totally sold on the grappling hook just yet. Maybe that's going to be really cool multiplayer. Again, they did. Jess says, Halo Talk, I need a drink before my gears start grinding again. Jess, we got to get you on BRAP, man. Yeah, I mean, and this is why I made that comparison, Jez, to the New York Jets, kind of that ominous cloud that lingers over Xbox. And when I see stuff like this, when I see the reveal of Halo Infinite, it doesn't actually install more confidence that Microsoft is getting it right again. I mean, they were on point, had a concise messaging earlier this year, and then it's just gone. It's gone south quick. And I'm not saying. Yeah, it's funny. I had a me and Lord Cognito. Big shout out to Lord Cognito and the Iron Lords, all the Iron Lords. J-Dub, Jay's here.
The one and only. What's good?
Jay, dude, I was worried about you, Jay.
No, you said 12:15. Well, that was
Eastern time.
Did you say what? Yeah, 1:15. So that's 12:15 my time.
Oh no, I said 12. I said 12:15 Eastern Standard Time, EST. Oh
Oh,
dear.
my bad, because I'm Central Time.
Yeah, no, I know you're such. So I said, you know what? I said maybe Jay is. I said Jay might be. He might be like. You may have got the times confused. I figured because I know you're an hour behind me. Maybe you thought I meant like 1 my time and 12 your
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
dude, I'm on so many podcasts and so many people in different time zones. So I always try to convert their time to my time, and so my bad, man. I'm sorry.
no,
Guess
dude,
I'm an
it's
hour late now.
dude. You know what, Jay? Your timing is impeccable because I'm talking about 343 Industries' response to the poor showing of Halo Infinite. You know, Microsoft's biggest and most iconic franchise. You know, but people were saying you were hiding, Jay, in the live chat.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah.
So I guess they want to hear my take on it.
Well, yeah, let's get to the let's get to their yeah, we'll get your take here in a sec, but let's get to the what Halo Infinite, what 343 had to say about this. So look, long story short, they heard the feedback of the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they get it wasn't the you know, the best. Man, let's tell you, Jez 7780 is brutal, man. He says grappling hook looks so weak. Chief floats over to the guy to give a kiss.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
Well,
here, Lansville Paul says, "BRAP, you would think that this show will pass Phil's approval to be shown, but maybe he's just going by what he's saying. Where's the quality control?" Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But so 343i basically, and I know you're aware of this, J-Dub, but or you may not be, but I'm assuming you are because this was pretty big news. He said, so basically the feedback for the community manager to the Xbox community and the Halo community was the build used to run the campaign demo was a work in progress from several weeks ago with a variety of graphical elements and game systems still being finished and polished. He also said that hold on a sec here. Now I lost the quote. He said that in terms of like the graphics, right?
mm-hmm.
They brought up 2 points in the blog. They said that the team is initially shooting for a classic style that's less like the few games, Halo 4, Halo 5 Guardians, and Halo Wars 2, and closer to the original Master Chief trilogy. That means a more vibrant palette, cleaner models, and objects with less noise. The aesthetic shift shouldn't mean a loss of detail, though. While we appreciate this, may not be everyone's personal preference. We stand by the decision and are happy to see it resonating with so many fans around the world. Look.
Hey, that sounds like some grade A damage control to me.
I got to be honest with you, man. That is not... You could still have that classic aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
And make it look good.
Yep.
You know, you can't sit there and tell me, Jay, oh, well, you know, we want a more vibrant palette. Nothing about that trailer was vibrant for me.
Vibrant.
It was flat. Yeah. What do you mean less noise? Dude, this is your... And this is... And
flagship.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, Jay. Microsoft has been... Halo Infinite has been synonymous with the Xbox Series X. Microsoft has been saying anytime you hear a Series X conversation, there's usually Halo Infinite or vice versa, right? Early on the year, yep. Halo Infinite's a launch game on Series X, right?
Yep.
So I saw someone in the live chat. He's a podcaster, and I don't agree with him a lot, and I won't say who it is, but it made me roll my eyes. This comment, well, guys, you know, this was a game showcase, not an Xbox Series X showcase. Excuse me. What do you mean? When you have a company linking the two together and promoting the most powerful console, and you have your iconic, most popular franchise, you sit there and you can't say that. You go, oh, well, you know, this is a showcase. What did you expect? It's not a Xbox Series X showcase. Well, no, I'm sorry. That doesn't fly in the face of the fact of what Microsoft's messaging had been up to that point. Halo Infinite and Series X have been synonymous with one another.
Yeah.
You know, and you say that Halo Infinite's going to launch on Series X, and you've been touting that power. What do What is the natural expectation of people? What do you think they're going to assume, Jay? That, oh my God, this game, it's Halo. It's going to be, like my man, like Mighty Keith says, we're going to be all on Halo Infinite. Da, 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 I mean,
yeah.
Keith is a fool, by the way.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites, man.
Oh, he definitely is one of my favorites. But it's like, what do you expect? What and look, and I hate using this word damage control because I think it's so dumb. But the amount of damage control from the Xbox community, this is the thing that frustrates me about this community. They just ride with everything Microsoft shows and Microsoft does for them. You know who doesn't do that for the most part? Nintendo community, the Sony community.
That's true.
And it's just like, what are you like, guys? It's okay. Look, I'm probably going to play Halo Infinite because I've been playing Halo forever. It's Master Chief. I have a natural, I guess, I'm predisposed to playing Halo.
Yeah.
And it's just mind-boggling to me, like, that you would even try to say that this is okay. Because they're listening. We know they listen. We know they look at social media. We know this.
Yeah.
And if you're saying this stuff's okay, they're going to continue doing it.
Exactly. Well, that brings a major point. This is 343, and this is Microsoft. They're trying to launch a brand new console, and I know guys are saying, "Oh, well, it really doesn't matter. The game is meant for the Xbox One and not really the amount of damage control behind it." Because for the last 2 years, we've been hearing about Halo Infinite and how it's going to revolutionize. The Slipstream engine was built from the ground up for the X Series X. We've been hearing all of this stuff, right? And it just, some kind of way, it seems like when Microsoft tries to deliver, they fall short, and guys revert to that. Well, they start bending back their expectations, and they kind of make excuses for it.
But it's going to be free in Game Pass, so that makes it okay.
Listen, let's face it, man. You were right. It seems right. It seems like there's only one fan base that does this notoriously, and that's the Xbox community. It's every day. It's on everything. It's on stuff that shouldn't be damage control, and it is damage control. If this was Sony, right? If this was God of War, and they decided to take it back to the old God of War, and the graphics was underwhelming, and everything was just underwhelming, you don't think the Xbox community would be cheering and laughing and creating memes and stuff like that? Of course they would. But it just seems like they can't, for some reason, criticize. They can't own up to the fact that, who knows, maybe 343 is not, maybe they're not the developer, that Bungie are, or was. Maybe they need to work on something else, or maybe the people who are in charge of Bungie, the people who are supposed to be the overseers and the oversight of Microsoft's IP, maybe they need to find another job with another company.
Real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, J-Dub, but Mitchie Dies a Lot says, when does the Sony community ever say anything Sony does is bad? Last of Us Part 2.
Well, here's the thing.
I mean,
right?
People on the Sony side were angered, livid.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
But keep in mind, right? And I get it. Guys want to play a tit for tat. Well, Sony, this is Sony. You got to understand, right? Sony is first place. They're winning under every single metrics. It's kind of hard to try to make something that's not there. They don't have free-to-play games behind a paywall. Microsoft does. They deliver Game of the Year winners and contenders every single year. Microsoft doesn't. And at the end of the day, it's all about the games, right? They delivered on the hardware front. They delivered on the software front. They delivered on the services front. Like, yeah, we can kind of artificially make up some stuff, but at the end of the day, it's about the games. And that's the problem Microsoft has. The games. So you can go and say,
Jay, real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but I think we got to be careful when we say the games, because they are bringing games to Game Pass. Like, they did do a good job of showcasing newer content coming. So it's not just games per se; it's the quality of first party is what we. So when we say games, we're not saying they don't have any games. We're saying from a first party perspective, though. And even with some of the partnerships with exclusives with other developers, the quality hasn't been on par as it had when you compare it to Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, and you also have to remind yourself, it goes back to when games like Grounded, when games like Battletoads, when games like Crackdown 3, when games, games of that caliber, the bleeding edges come out, people will always compare them to the nearest competitor, whether it's Paper Mario, whether it's Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, or whatever. It's all going to be like that. It's always, you can't stop that. And so Microsoft for the last couple of years have a laundry list of having and bringing out subpar games on quality wise. And the Xbox, a lot of people in the Xbox fan base just damage control and say, well, it's not, it's fun. It's my kids play it. The user engagements are there. There's always this excuse. And if this is already starting to trickle over into next generation, Enrique, it's going to be a bloodbath. If you're, you spent the last 6-7 years damage controlling all the stuff. First, it was Terry Myerson and Donnie D's fault. It's always someone else's fault. But right now, I'm going to say this here has to rest on the shoulder of Phil Spencer. He has to take control. He has to say, look, we can't show people this. We have a next generation console we're trying to sell. We have a next generation service we're trying to sell. And we can't go out here and slang Battletoads and Grounded and Bleeding Edge every other month when these guys are throwing out The Last of Us 2, Neo 2, Final Fantasy 7, Ghost of Tsushima, and all that. Bro, it's a bloodbath right now.
Real quick, Jake, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to big shout to Gaming Fortes in the live chat. What's up, Forte? Forte says, I don't know, man. Gears 5 was a great game. Yeah, Gears 5 was a really good game.
It was, but that's 2 years ago.
But that's 2 years ago, and that's number 5 of Gears. What I'm also saying, okay, it's so I think, Jay, we have to kind of expand upon
that's just like me saying Infamous. That's just like me saying Infamous Second Son is great. That was years ago. Like, what have you done for me lately within the last, we shouldn't have to explain this, right? We should not have to explain this. If guys have to go back several years to bring out a quality game, that's a problem.
That's the kind of proof on the pudding. You're going back, 3 years now, 2 years.
Yeah.
But my I guess what I'm saying is you have to be very when you're talking about the games thing, people take it as literally as no games. It's not that. It's the quality of first party games. It's the lack of new quality franchises. Things like that. Like, if you look at Forte brought up Gears of War 5. Gears is a great game. I'm not going to take away from Gears, right? But that was 2 or 3 years ago. It's not a newer franchise. Look at Sony. Horizon Zero Dawn, new franchise. Ghost of Tsushima, which, let me tell you, real talk, Jay, that might be my game of the year.
Probably
man.
Game of the year. It may win Game of the Year.
That is, and I literally just came off The Last of Us Part 2, right?
Yeah.
So you look at that, new franchises, and I also mentioned not just first party, but also the lack of quality with them partnering with other developers to make exclusives.
Yes.
Well, I will say, though no one played it, Sunset Overdrive was a really good game. No one played it, unfortunately. But if you look at the Remedy game, and I forgot the Remedy game now that Microsoft had as exclusive. God, what's the games?
We got Days Gone,
Quantum Break.
Oh yeah, Quantum Break. Yeah.
So what I'm saying
is, those are launch games to 2 and 3 years into the generation, right?
Yeah.
We're in 2020, Enrique. Like, we should not have to go back to 2015 to search for some quality games. Come on, what are we doing here?
But that's so what I'm saying. Okay, and I agree with you, Jay. But I think for context, though, like what I'm saying, what we're saying, you and I are saying, is that it's not that they don't have any games, because they did show games in Game Pass. What we're saying is that when it comes to first party exclusives and even exclusives that they have with their partnerships with developers and even new quality content, it's just not there for Microsoft this generation. That's what we're saying. If you look at the entire picture, and that's why I bring up like Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, Bloodborne, which they partnered with, Japan Studios, Sony's Japan Studios partnered with From Software. Bloodborne is a awesome exclusive new title. I mean, and so this is the parallel, if you will, and how we compare and contrast these things. So, it's just, look, I got to get the super chat. Mr. Righteous Fish says, with the $5 super chat, thank you, says, Microsoft don't have anything to combat PlayStation exclusives, God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost, The Last of Us Part 2, Neo 2, etc. Yeah, Neo 2, again, third-party exclusive, exclusive on PlayStation. So...
Persona 5, Royal.
Persona 5. Yeah,
Persona 5. I mean, we can keep going on that list.
But go ahead, Jay. You were I cut you off, man. Go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Yeah, no one, I don't care who you are, right? No one can dispute the lack of quality games, consistent. Microsoft has, the Forza Horizon series is always great. The Gears is always great. The Forza is gonna give you a solid 85 every year of the year, every year of the decade. It's once you move those games aside, what else do we have? We have a bunch of games that could have been great from the launch time if they would have followed up with sequels to those games, but they never did. So we have to, I hate to say it, we have to bury those games. The Rise, the Sunset Overdrives, the Dead Rise, all that stuff, we got to bury that stuff 6 feet deep and never bring them up again, because those games are gone. We're never getting any sequels to them. So you can't live on the glory days of those. There's a reason they deaded those games. They didn't sell. The fan base did not support them. So let's stop bringing that stuff forward. We're here in 2020. There's a new console amongst us. And finally, right, Microsoft decided to invest in studios, invest in IPs. Unfortunately, it's going to take years to see, to reap the rewards of that. And it's no guarantee that they're going to knock it out the park the first time. Uncharted 1 did not blow everybody's mind. It took a sequel, Uncharted 2, to bring everybody's attention and to knock it out the park. Microsoft just did not nurture their IP this generation, and they're paying for it heavily. So yes, they are behind, and I get it. They bought a lot of studios, they bought a lot of games, and these games may be great. I hope and pray that they're great.
Hey Jay, real quick question for you, man.
Yeah.
So you bring up some valid points, and I want to just reiterate: this doesn't mean that Microsoft is like the Xbox, is just like. I guess when people hear this, they think, "Oh, you're just hating your pony. You're hating on Xbox." Look, it is what it is. These are the reality of the times we live in when it comes to Xbox. Like what you're saying,
Enrique, I don't take offense when they say that, right? Because I'm the guy day one streaming Grounded for hours. I'm the guy that's
how is Grounded,
streaming
by the way,
it
man?
for hours.
Grounded
is okay. You have to play it with friends. You cannot play it solo.
All right, Jay, are you playing it on PC or are you playing on your Xbox?
Yeah, PC.
All right, dude, Jay, we gotta get some games in, man, because I've been trying to get Slow-Mo Backslap. Big shout out to Slow-Mo. He actually streamed it, and he uninstalled. He said he won't play it again. So I'm like, I want to get some people to play it.
It's one of those games. It's the typical Microsoft game, right? Where like Crackdown, Bleeding Edge. Like Battletoads is going to be, you have to play with friends, and they say make your own fun out of it. It's like Sea of Thieves, right? You play Sea of Thieves solo, it's not the thing. You have to make your own fun. You have to grab a bunch of friends and kind of make it fun. It's kind of artificial fun, right? It's just artificial. It's like you can take any game, even if it's a super bad game, add friends in there and have some kind of entertainment with it. But does it have the quality that you really need to be able to say, hey, this is a great stable we're going to make? No, it's not, man. It's, again, these are titles that's by the B team of some indie developer that, y'all know the story. I don't have to explain that.
Well, it's Oblivion. Yeah, it's their, yeah. It's a passion project for them. I mean, it's
these passion, Enrique, these passion projects, right? We can't keep riding on the excuses of mediocre titles and calling them, oh well, you know what? It's just a passion project. We can still have fun. It's great. It's in Game Pass. So you didn't really pay much money for it. Or is another one? Well, it had over 1 million user engagements. That mean, I mean, come on, like let's stop this nonsense, right? You didn't have a million people buy this game. You had 1 million people that already had Game Pass, right? That has booted that game up and gave it a try. Like, let's stop this stuff. We can't change history. We can't change the metrics of how gaming industry has always done things just to make Microsoft in a better light than they should be. Because theoretically, at the end of the day, you're still going to keep taking L's month after month, year after year. And if you don't own up to it, then, I mean, let's face it, the fan base, and I'm gonna blame, they're partially the reason why Xbox is in the position that is in when it comes to this stuff.
I mean, look,
they are the reason.
Look, 9lives 210 in the chat says Microsoft should do its own thing. I don't need them to copy Sony. Look, it's not about copying Sony. 9lives, and I don't know when you started gaming on the Xbox platform, but I mean, if you go back to the days, and JD, I think you were too. I was day one OG Xbox, right?
Yes.
You know what exclusives 9lives that the OG Xbox console had that were awesome titles?
Yep.
Panzer Dragon Orta. Ninja Gaiden, dude. My dude. Before there was a Demon Souls, before there was a Bloodborne, before there was a Dark Souls, there was Ninja Gaiden. You know, Ninja Gaiden. All right?
Yeah.
And Ninja Gaiden was a banger. So it's not about copying Sony. Nintendo releases quality, compelling first-party titles like Zelda Breath of the Wild. I mean, so it's not about copying. It's just about giving an experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
you can't get anywhere else.
You can't get anywhere else. That is so profound that you literally put down your controller and say, Jess said Bloodwig. You wild, man.
No,
Bloodwig was exclusive.
Yeah, it was, and it had the best water effects ever.
Oh, Bloodwig had the best water graphics at the time.
And this is OG Xbox. People don't remember this. Xbox came out with a hammer. They had their exclusives. They had a sense of direction. They had a sense of pride, and they created this juggernaut that moved over into the Xbox 360 generation, right? So this generation, all of that went to crap, and right now, guys are still making excuses for everything. And it's not helping. If you're making excuses for everything, it's not helping. You can say that, okay, well, they don't have to be like Sony or they don't have to be like Nintendo. Well, fine. But what Nintendo and Sony have are Game of the Year winners and contenders, a definition of why you should buy the console. And that's the reason why their next console is going to sell like hotcakes. You guys see the articles every day by the analysts saying that, 80% of people want the 80% of the gamers want PS5.
Yeah.
Come on now, and guess what? The PS5 is not the world's most powerful console. Look, so what does that tell you?
Jay, I'm telling you, as I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, I'm literally putting down the controller. I'm at awe with this game. And this is a new franchise by Sucker Punch, new IP. And it is phenomenal. Like I am like it only increases my hype and my excitement for the PlayStation 5 as I think, holy shit, what are these guys going to be able to do with 9 or 10 teraflops?
Exactly.
Like I mean, like and this is what like Optimus Code's been saying like the entire time. Like the talent of the development studio, the money, time, and resources they have mean more than the hardware, like the power of the hardware.
Yeah, definitely. We had David Jaffe on the show, and he said it clearly. He said what Microsoft lacks is more so what he was trying to get at, right? It was more so, because I don't want to twist his words, but he was like, forget these studios, forget the games right now. Go and hire some of the management team from Sony, because Sony knows how to manage. They know how to manage the studios. They know how to go out and seek the right studios and the right talent. They know how to manage the IPs. And
I remember Jaffe saying that on that show. I was listening to that show. I remember exactly. He did say, "Go out and get them because they're They're like master. Again, that's I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah,
they're like they're great at doing that.
yeah, yeah.
Which
That's the crucial, right? Once you get those key pieces, the management team in place, everything else falls into place. You see what I'm saying? You had we've heard this story before. Shuhei Yoshida with Corey Balrog. He played God of War, the first demo they had. He didn't like it. He told him to scrap it and start over. Guess what? That's that quality control. But if that was Microsoft, they would have shipped that shit out there, and guess what? It probably would have failed. You have to have somebody that knows what a quality game is, Enrique.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna, Jay. I might disagree with you there. I'm not gonna go on the limb and say that, because it sounds like you're suggesting that maybe Phil doesn't know what a quality game is, or the people there.
Listen. I'm not
don't.
saying Phil, because
Okay.
I don't know what Phil role plays into allowing these games to come out. For example, this event that we just had, right? In the Inside Xbox event. 5 minutes after they had the Inside Xbox event, they're out there giving apologies. So someone had to watch this show and say, this is okay. Somebody greenlit this show and said, this is going to be great. The gamers are going to love it. Whoever that guy that agreed to that, I hate to say it, he needs to be canned. But he keeps doing the same thing over and over. Then we had this next show, right? They had to know that Halo wouldn't have looked appealing to gamers. Somebody has to be self-aware. Maybe they need to hire some gamers themselves and say, hey guys, what do you think? They need a panel or a quality control expert. And that's something Microsoft does not have currently.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to the live chat here. Mogwee, I hope I didn't pronounce that correctly. Says it was 85%. Yeah, 85% of UK gamers. Sample size 3,000. Just for context, stats are kind of useless without knowing context. So Mogwee,
okay.
Let me just chime in real quick, because that sample size that you're referring to, Mog, the context was given. It was a random sample survey. If you please, Mog, Google random sample survey to see. They do this in politics all the time, by the way. And that's why like when you hear political polling here in the United States, like they don't poll all Republicans and Democrats or all U.S. citizens. They take a sample size of the population. Through that sample size, they're able to extrapolate, project what the greater population is going to do or how they're going to vote. The same applies here for that survey, Mog, 3,000 gamers. They actually broke it down into demographics. They used men, women, different age groups, right, to reflect the general population of gamers in the UK. So you may not think that you may think it's useless, but it's actually not, because it's a sample size given the demographic, the greater demographic, and then taking that data and projecting it out. And those, look, there could be a margin of error of 2.5% to 3% on those types of surveys, but you can't downplay that. It's a pretty telling survey. Now, again, nothing's guaranteed. It could be that maybe it's 60%. Who knows? Maybe economic things change. Maybe people don't. I mean, we don't know. But you can't completely dismiss it. Is my point. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's dismiss that poll. Let's go with IGN's poll. Over 40,000 people voted. Right. Still, you got 65 to 70% in that poll said that the gamers are looking are going to buy the PS5 over the X Series X. We can go to other polls. There's polls all over. These are credible polls. So it's not just some stuff we're making up. Like, it doesn't matter what poll you look at, it's not looking good for the X Series X. So that mind share, Microsoft has to have the quality software to bring the mind share back. It's not that we just want to sit here and shit on Microsoft. It's that they invited the gamers to a show to showcase their hardware, and everything went wrong from there. That's the problem. Their flagship title, their number one title. Imagine, right? Imagine if Sony's number one title. By the way, Sony's number one title is Gran Turismo. That's their flagship. They've sold over like 100 million copies. So, but I'm not even going to use that. Let's use God of War, right? Because that's the more recent, I think the holy grail of games that most people would say. Would you say, Enrique?
Yeah, I would probably agree with. I mean, maybe The Last of Us.
Okay.
Either or.
Let's toss them up. It doesn't matter. Just pick. Let's say, right, they showed that off, the sequel to those games, and they showed it off, and that game would have looked like it was running on the PS4 instead of the PS5, or maybe that's a bad example because PS4 is freaking awesome. So, but let's say a PS3 game. People would be livid. That franchise would no one would want to buy that. People would be looking for Neil Druckmann to retire or to move on. Somebody has to answer for that. They've had 343 had what, $500 million, 1,500 developers, 6 years, and they're going to tell us, well, we thought we're going to, they try to damage code. First, it was, well, it's an old bill. Then they came out and said, no, it's a current bill. Okay, so guess what? Then the next one, it's, well, we're going to do this, and it's really about the color and the art style. Like, stop it. You're trying to sell me a $500 or $600 console. This is not the time for you to try to make some art style games to try to sell me on 12T flop. We were looking for a brand new next generation experience, and we did not get that. You can't blame that on us. That's self-awareness of a developer or studio. You have to be self-aware. Someone greenlit that. Someone said that this is okay to showcase this, and someone in Microsoft, they need to own up for it. I don't know if it's Aaron Greenberg. I don't know if it's Matt Booty. I don't know if it's Phil Spencer, but someone needs to answer for it.
Well, and also to real quick, going back to kind of you said someone needs to answer for it, and the answer that 343 Industries gave too, and I'll add this as well. They did in this post. Justnick did say that we do have work to do to address some of the areas and raise the level of fidelity and overall presentation for the final game. We don't have firm answers or outcomes to share yet, but the team is working as quickly as possible on plans to address some of the feedback around detailed clarity and overall fidelity. I don't, this is,
3 months. We got 3 months before these systems launch. 3 months.
Jay, this is why I said
we got 3 months.
I said this earlier in the BRAP rant. I said, my impression of Microsoft now. And it's funny, like I was talking to Lord Cognito. We had a pretty in-depth conversation about this because he was thinking that maybe this is them kind of maybe heading down the path of 2013 again. And then I said, I don't know about that. And then he said something regarding Halo and how bad they showed Halo. He referred to it, they kind of stained Halo or something. I'm paraphrasing. Cog, if you're listening, I know I'm paraphrasing you. But basically, when he said it that way, whatever Cog said to me made me think, oh shit, like maybe this is 2013 again. And he said, he goes, BRAP, I understand what you're saying about having doubts or concerns because it's like this, like he related to sports. He's like, I know you're a Washington Redskins fan, and anything that club does that may be as positive. There's always kind of that side eye, like, well, yeah, we just signed, like we signed Josh Norman, who at the time was like the top rated cornerback, right, for the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
From Carolina. We signed Josh Norman, and everyone's all hyped about it. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just waiting for something to go wrong, right? And then now we hire Ron Rivera, and I'm kind of like, great hire, but I see this before. We've hired great coaches, and nothing's changed, like Marty Schottenheimer. So there's like this like bad news bear mentality that I have with Microsoft now and Xbox, and and I relate to sports because as I'm reading this, and I'm like, but this is Halo. You should first of all, you should never be in this situation right now where you have to come out and explain.
Apologize all the time.
And it's
That's
just
all
like,
they do.
Why? Like what? Like this? Like what is? This is why I'm not confident in the brand per se as I used to be. Now, am I in the ecosystem? Yes, because like I said, they are PC games that I want to play on my PC for visual fidelity, for higher frames that I can get on Game Pass. Right? Do I use Game Pass a lot? Probably not. I mean, The Ground is going to be the first game that I've downloaded Game Pass in quite some time. Just because I want to play with you, J-Dub, and see what the game is like.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, this is the part that's like, how can anyone damage control this stuff? Like, it's okay to say, you know what? I am an Xbox consumer, but as a consumer, I do have some concerns. Rather than, hey man, you know what? It doesn't matter. They got Game Pass. They got consumer friendly service model. Blah blah blah. And they're pro consumer. Pro
all
consumer.
that stuff means nothing.
Pro consumer is great, but I don't
Yeah.
play a game called Pro Consumer. I play video games.
Exactly.
And I want quality content. And when I see stuff like this from your marquee franchise, if this is how you treat your marquee franchise, if this is what's going on behind the scenes, something is not right. It just doesn't add up to me. And I go back to the example of the Washington Redskins. Let me tell you something. The reason why that franchise is a dismay because of poor leadership. And maybe that's what's happening at 343 right now. Slow-mo, big shout to Slow-mo backslap. For the last year, J-Dub has been calling and saying that Bonnie Ross needs to quit, that she needs to be fired.
I've heard that. I've heard people say that.
It's just, I don't know, Jay. And
but here's the thing, right? Here's the problem. It's not just 343. We can't, I get it. Halo is the biggest franchise, and 343 was trusted after Bungie left. They were trusted to keep that game and that brand alive, right? So they had big shoes to fill, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it's two totally different teams. I hate to say it, it is what it is, and it may take them longer to get their legs. But is not just 343. We just can't point fingers at 343 and say, okay, Bunny Rouse, get out of here. No, we have to point fingers at the grounded, the bleeding edges, the crackdown threes, the stuff that spent millions of dollars and thousands and millions of hours to work on and all of this different stuff that didn't pan out with quality. It's not just one IP. It's multiple IP. It's plenty of IP. It's to the point now where you have more bad IP that people associate with Xbox than good IP, and that's bad. Once you lose that mind share, Enrique, it's impossible to get it back. And I know Microsoft is trying. The goodwill of Game Pass and stuff like that. I know people bring up all that stuff, but you can never compensate for quality games. Game Pass, listen, great value, great service. Bless whoever came up with that. Great. But that is not going to get someone to go out and buy a console for that. The only thing that's going to get a person to go out and buy that it would have been a Halo, right? But right now, Halo is a meme. They've turned their biggest IP into a meme. Imagine if God of War, The Last of Us, or something like that was a meme for the wrong purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
that's bad.
It's not good. It's like
when you have Digital Foundry, right? When you have Digital Foundry go out and say this crap looks last gen, that is bad.
Jay,
when you have everyone saying that, that's bad. And I don't know how to recover that, right? Because they got 3 months before these systems launch. And I get it. Maybe at the last minute they said, look, we got some bad, we got to do something. We're desperate. Forget it. Let's make it free to play. And we'll fix it over time, maybe like we did Sea of Thieves, like we're gonna do Grounded, like we're gonna do the rest of the games, over time, a slow burn. Bro, that's scary. That's scary for me as a gamer. That's scary because now I'm going to have to trust that this game is going to get better over time. And am I willing to stick around and wait? How many more years are we going to have to wait for Halo to get a graphical overhaul where it looks next gen or it's okay to us? I don't know. I don't know, Enrique. I don't know, man. Well, I guess that's ultimately up to the gamers.
Here's the thing, man. There's some kind of disconnect here with whatever's going on internally at Microsoft, because what I don't understand is this. Phil Spencer, after seeing the PlayStation reveal right back in June,
he was confident.
He came out he came out and gave an interview and said, based on what he saw from Sony from the PlayStation 5 event, that he was confident of what Microsoft was going to be showing the following month of July. That led me to believe, wow, Phil, you are coming in here, big man, big pants on. Yep. You feel very strong about what you're showing. If you're making that statement, Phil, and you're saying, I feel confident. And did he even say more confident, or did you say confident? I don't remember the exact words, but let's just say
it was more of the. Now, after I seen their show of what we're gonna show, so we were thinking, oh shit, Phil, man, he got some stuff cooking over there. If he thinks this show is crazy, that means he got something to combat Spider-Man Miles Morales, Gran Turismo 7, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Demon Souls, and some more stuff. So that means he got some heat ready. And what happened?
That's what I thought too. I thought he said, confident of what we have to show. And I'm thinking, oh wow, like that's you. If you're coming out as an executive after your competitor has your show, and you're saying, hey, you know what? After seeing Sony show, I'm confident of what we're going to show, next month. Like, okay, that's that. Now you're talking. That's baller talk. Now you're like, you know what? We got this.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone's thinking, oh shit, like they're bringing it with Halo Infinite, and they Halo Infinite, baby, I'm gonna be up there,
Imagine the jaw drop.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what? It just like I just don't.
Yeah. Enrique, we didn't see. We didn't see any gameplay from Hellblade. We it's a lot of stuff. Like I don't know, and I try to be sympathetic, right? Saying, well, maybe the show was kind of overhyped. Maybe it wasn't Microsoft overhyping it. Maybe it was us. Maybe
no.
But then when you go back and think about stuff like what we just talked about, how Phil Spencer went on record. Nobody asked him what he thought. He went on record saying, "Oh, after watching their shit, I'm confident we're gonna blow it out the water." And then, but I think I asked you before, Enrique. I said, after every E3, right, we hear these chants from Phil Spencer. This is going to be the best show, the biggest show, the best IPs, the largest lineup. We see the trend every single year. I keep those quotes and I keep posting those things. And I said, what's going to make this year different than the last time he told us that, or the one before that, or the one? At what time as gamers do we say, look, we've heard this shit for 7 years, bro. Like, shut up. Just show me what you got. Shut up. And if it's bad, then there's no expectation. If it's good, then you got a W. But we keep going out here on Phil Spencer's word that this shit is finna knock us out, and then it fails every time. These excuses. Inside Xbox. Oh, well, yeah, we know we didn't show gameplay. We know we told you we were going to show gameplay. We didn't even show gameplay for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even though we told you were. Well, guess what? This was just our third-party show, but we'll get you when we come to our first-party show. 2 days before the first-party show, well, it won't just be first-party. It's going to be third-party and first-party and some stuff. Oh, okay, you're backtracking. Okay. Then the show comes out. We still see, pretty much we only seen gameplay from Halo, right? Everything else was not gameplay. So now I'm hearing guys say, wait till August. Have you heard that, Enrique? Wait for August?
Yes, I have.
What are we doing? What are we still dragging this shit month after month after month? And then it's going to be Gamescom, and then it's going to be Comic, and then it's going to be Tokyo Game Show. What are we doing? Like, at some point, we have to own up.
By the way, real quick,
at some point we have to own up.
Jay, just to kind of go back to what Phil said. Phil was saying that after the PlayStation 5 reveal, Phil said that he felt even better about the Series X. So he's actually referred to the Xbox Series X console, right? Which
those are those semantics that we've been playing for the last few years when it comes to Phil and Aaron Greenberg, Matt Booty, stuff that they say. We'll go back and try to, well, maybe he meant this, or maybe he meant. Come on, man, that doesn't fly. That's not helping Xbox. It's not helping Microsoft.
But here's the thing, Jay. Like their show, like the games they showed, it wasn't a terrible showing of games per se, right? Like the games that they put in, like even the pregame, like Dragon Quest to Game Pass, I thought was a very big announcement.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. It wasn't a terrible show, right? It wasn't like, oh my god, this sucks. It was a good show. The problem is that one lackluster revealing of your biggest franchise overshadowed everything. It's just like, you can't do that. Like, it's just,
Enrique, it's like this. When you go to a fight, when you go to a boxing fight, they have these smaller fights before the main event, right? Nobody buys the tickets to see the smaller fights. You're there for the main event. We showed up for Halo. That's what we showed up for. If anything else would have got shown, okay, you bring your favorite. Okay, cool. But let's face it, this was a Halo show. People showed up for a Halo. We wanted da 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 da. We wanted that. And what we got, our jaws dropped because I was doing the live stream.
Our jaws dropped for the wrong reason, though, Jay.
Exactly. I said this. And these are my exact words. I said this don't look next gen to me. This now, mind you, Halo
Jay, real quick, who were you doing the live stream with?
With next gen.
Oh, yeah, dude, what did next dude? Did he fall out of his chair?
He's not a Halo. He's not a Halo guy.
Okay.
So he wasn't there for Halo. Okay. He was there to see Fable and the other stuff that they had, the games that appealed to him. But shout out to Nethos. He's the Halo guy. He was there. And he, at some point he tried to save face and say, well, it's really just about the gameplay. And, and listen, I'm not saying Halo is going to be a crappy game. It's probably going to be awesome. I'm just saying the way they showed that game and those graphics did not look appealing it wasn't appealing enough for me to go out and spend $600 on a next generation console when the game looks, Halo 5 wasn't a bad looking game. Halo 4 wasn't a bad looking game. We got Halo Master Chief Collection on PC and that shit looks really, exactly. It looks great.
Yeah.
But you got a brand new engine. You're going into next generation. You spent 5 years, $500 million. Didn't it cost? It cost Naughty Dog it cost Sony like $100 million, $80 to $100 million to make The Last of Us 2. And that game is by far one of the best looking games, this gen on 1.8 T-flops. So where's my T-flops, Enrique? I want the T-flops. I want the Velocity engine. Where is that? I didn't see it. Where's my T-flops?
Jay, that's the corner that they put themselves in, man, and they're gonna have to figure it out, man, because you can't tout the most powerful system in the world and not showcase it. You just can't do it because you're going to stumble out of the gates. Sony is going. I've heard a lot of things about Sony behind the scenes that they are really focused on being even more aggressive about content with the PlayStation 5. Hence, the two games are releasing are going to showcase in August. There's also a bigger franchise. So if you think about a reimagining of something similar to like Final Fantasy VII, there's another big franchise, from what I understand, that Sony is working on that's going to be huge. So they're not and the other thing too,
outside of God of War.
Outside of God of War, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this too, that Hogue, our guest this past Wednesday on BRAP, Hogue brought up an interesting point. People always talk about the money that that Sony or that Microsoft has, and no one's ever going to debate that Microsoft is more wealthy, is a more wealthier country, has more money than Sony does. Their market capitalization is much higher.
Come on,
no one's gonna argue that, but the difference is, and what Hogue mentioned is that for Microsoft, Xbox isn't really a priority per se. It's a small blip in their revenue stream. Yes, they do bring in a lot of money. We know that in the billions, but overall speaking, at Microsoft as a whole, it's not a third of their revenue stream the way Sony PlayStation is, and even Nintendo's core business, their only business is gaming. And so I often wonder, is that why we see the level of detail and quality behind these two companies as it relates to gaming, because it's so ingrained in their company culturally now too. PlayStation has a tremendous amount of influence in Sony overall, and we know Nintendo, that's it for Nintendo, right, for the most part.
Yeah.
But is that kind of why we see the level of quality that we do out of these companies? Because for Microsoft, it's like, it's really not. Yeah, it's a nice to have, but it isn't a must have. It's a must have for Sony. It's 33% of their revenue and about 99.9% for Nintendo. So is that why we see that quality there? Is that why we see because I really feel like it's off. Like it really is when you look at compare and contrast all the big three, like Microsoft's is kind of like a head scratcher in some ways for me.
Yeah, without a doubt, that is the reason. And I've been saying this for a long time. It's because PlayStation is Sony's bread and butter. It's keeping them in the black. So they've been able to change some things around the company, and they bet on blue. They bet on Team Blue. They bet on PlayStation. So therefore, they did at one point sell buildings and liquidate a bunch of stuff to get the money, and they reinvested in PlayStation wholly. Not only into the studios, not only acquisitions like Insomniac, Housemarque. You just saw that at their show.
They just made that Epic investment in Epic.
Yes, freaking $250 million into Epic. So you know what kind of things that's going to bring for the near future. They double down on VR. Enrique, man, these guys are the creme de la creme of gaming, right? The business moves that they're making directly impact us as gamers in a positive light, versus the moves that Microsoft is making. We don't really see the repercussions. We don't see the value of a lot of stuff. Like right now, Microsoft is in bids to buy TikTok, right? So they got all this money, but gamers are focusing on Xbox and like, come on, Microsoft, what are you doing with Xbox? What are you doing? Why are we having all these issues? But you go and dump all this money on that side of the pile, but then you come over here and you buy a bunch of indie and AA studios. Like, go out and buy some big blockbuster AAA like Sony is, and invest in those IPs. Listen, they bought Insomniac. Insomniac was able to make what? Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man at the same time. 2 quality AAA IPs from one studio. Am I right, Enrique, or am I right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Okay, so then you got Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
They killed off Uncharted. They're making another game, so they got a new IP coming, and then they just dropped probably most likely, the game of the year.
Aren't they working? I think Naughty Dog. Aren't they working like on a sci-fi new IP or something? Is that?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I'm hearing rumbles about that, the trailer for that or something. They're going to have some kind of release for that, and it won't be long. And a lot of the games that Sony showed at their showcase, right? These are like 2020 and 2021 games. These are not 2023, 2024 games. And they still haven't showed their full hand. They still have a bunch of projects that they were working on. And let's face it, we're getting sequels to Days Gone. We're getting sequels to Ghost of Tsushima. We're getting sequels to all these other IPs that they made. So not only do we have the sequels from the games from this generation, but we have all the new IP that they just showed us, and they're partnering with the right people, and that's what gamers like to see. They're partnering with the right people. I don't know. I think you're right. So Microsoft, Xbox is not that important to Microsoft like PlayStation is to Sony, or like the Nintendo Switch is to Nintendo. Nintendo and Sony are basically gaming companies. The bulk of their revenue comes from gaming, or a big part that keeps them from going in the red. Versus Microsoft, they were able to bundle the Xbox division with the Microsoft Office division, with the software and subscriptions division, where it's just one big bundle. So even if it does bad, you'll never know because it's tied in with all the other stuff that's making money. So I don't know, man. I just look at the games, right? If Microsoft come out with some really good games that I care about and they're high quality, I'm there. But until then, you can't keep hawking Game Pass to me because I got Game Pass now, and it's I get it, it's a great value, but Game Pass, someone said it perfectly. Game Pass is a great value, but the value is not in Game Pass. Maybe it'll be there eventually when they get some really, really good games, and it's a great value. They're going to have all party games in there day and date, but until those quality first-party games release and come out, we're going to be getting the Groundeds, the Bleeding Edge, the Battletoads.
Yeah, which I'm not. Look, I mean, those games might be fun, but I mean, there's so many. That's yeah, it's just not. That's not for me. And look, that's the kind of. I'm never going to shame anyone for liking those kinds of games or maybe preferring co-op experiences, gaming with friends. That's fine. Like I get that, but for me, for Enrique or BRAP, the gamer, it's not something that I want to be a focal point of my gaming experience. It's just not. One, I don't have time to be gaming with people on a regular basis. When I can, when I can game with others, that's usually Warzone, which is just awesome.
I got a question for you, Enrique, and this is shout out to my man Keegan Hall. What games do you remember from Xbox show? Right, Microsoft has all these studios, and they have all these games that they showed. What game stood out to you?
Name some of the July event
from this last July event.
Oh,
from all of those studios.
Yeah,
name them. Name some games that really stood out.
So the games that stood out to me, Halo Infinite for the wrong reasons. But the Medium, which is that horror game, which that's actually gonna be multiplat.
It's coming on PS5.
Yeah. Actually, Obsidian's Avowed, which takes place in the Pillars of Eternity world, is the one game that I'm probably most excited about, and probably the out of all the announcements that were the games they announced, Avowed was it for me. Avowed was their biggest announcement, their best announcement, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the sword. That's the one with the sword, right?
Yeah, I have a bias towards Obsidian. I thought Obsidian was the best acquisition. Ninja Theory and Obsidian, in my opinion, are Microsoft's greatest acquisitions. I hope they use them correctly. I hope they allow them to make compelling content, because they've made some really compelling content in the past. Let them do what they do best. That's so. I would say Avowed and. Medium, Avowed. That's pretty much it, man. Like anything.
Okay,
else,
that's what I thought the same, right? Only because again, shout out to Keegan. He did make a point. He was like, "Oh, they showed all these IP from these new studios." I'm like, dude, I only remember like one or two games from that whole showing that people even remember. So it's I get it. Microsoft is invested into a lot, but man, until they get that quality up and until they get something that really sticks with us, I don't know. It's going to be a hard sell for a lot of people, man. What do you think about the? Listen, we know the X Series X is the world's most powerful console. Yet again, Microsoft has the world's most powerful console. But what we saw at the show has not resonated with the majority of the gamers, because once Halo came out, it underwhelmed everybody. I think everyone's mind started focusing on Halo, and they really didn't. The other stuff, a lot of people really didn't give a chance. So if you get a chance, go back and watch that event, watch those trailers in 4K, find something that you like there, and just kind of wait. Unfortunately, a lot of those games are in pre-production, Enrique. A lot of them. Forza, pre-production. Avowed, pre-production. What else? It was a bunch of other stuff. Fable, pre-production. That means a lot of these people haven't even started. They're probably still making concept art.
But you know what, though, Jay? At least I will say this, and I understand what your point, but I will say this: at least they're showing us a roadmap, though, which is which is much better. Fable. They showed Fable. That was great. I thought they could probably maybe shown a little bit more, maybe like at least a trailer or something, a little bit more than just the fairy and the frog, But at least they gave us a roadmap of games coming to Game Pass, right? Or some of the things that the new studios are working on, which I will applaud Microsoft for that. But again, man, and just to kind of put a bow on this BRAP. Oh, there's Code. What's up, Code?
What up? What's going on?
Not much, man. Code, dude.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Code.
I wasn't saying nothing. I'm listening to y'all.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. Hey, Code. I agree with your tweet earlier about not having to worry about something about how certain people feel about the way you talk or something. So I just want to say well said on that, sir.
Yeah, that's sort of going a little bit different than what I expected. I meant everything I said, but some people taking it the wrong way. Like, the nerve of some people coming at you for your language. And that ain't really how it was. It was more people was like, hey, we respect your opinions, and we sort of expect like a higher level of professionalism from you on Twitter. I was like, no, this is my personal account. This is not about that. That's all that was.
I mean, Code. I mean, that's your personal account, dude. It's not like you are Code at I'm just making up the company name, like Optimus Development, right? You know what I mean? Right. Like you're not under that Twitter banner. It's your personal account. So I don't understand why people would assume that you should act a certain way on your personal account. You know what I mean? Like you don't have your
Yeah,
real
I
name
agree.
listed. You don't have your company name there, even though we all know you work for Sony PlayStation. No, just
Hey, look, speaking
Hey,
of J-Dub, I seen you playing Grounded. I watched you, so you can't lie and say you wasn't playing it, man. It looked like y'all was having fun.
hey, man, everybody know I plays all this Xbox stuff that comes out, man. I got to. I gotta give it a try, right, before I give my opinion on it. I can't just give you opinion without trying it. So
For sure.
yeah.
For sure. Respect.
So you're gonna see Sea of Thieves on my channel. You're gonna see Grounded. You're gonna see Bleeding Edge battles. That's just.
But it looked like
It
he
is
was
what it
having
is.
fun. It wasn't just sitting there. You look like y'all was having fun.
No.
J-Dub, so much you love those passion projects, huh?
No. Listen, like I told Enrique when he asked me earlier, I told him it's the same effect that I had when I played Bleeding Edge, when I played Crackdown, when I played Sea of Thieves, right? If you have your friends, you can play anything. You can play cards, dominoes.
That's true.
You can play Mario. You can play whatever and have fun because you have that. But I recommended to Enrique, don't play it solo. You gotta play it with some friends, or else you're gonna be. I mean, there's no fun to have there. And I think that's Microsoft's mantra. A lot of these games, a lot of these passion projects, and I think a lot of it, there's really no objective. You just have fun with your friends, and I don't know, maybe that's what they want.
Hold on, so you saying you don't think it'd be fun with randoms? Do you mean other people, or you mean specifically your friends?
No, I mean specifically your friends. I'm going to be honest. Okay. A lot of these games with randoms, those random people are playing with their friends, and you just lumped in, and so they don't pay attention to you. They don't care about you. They, if you start dying,
you get eaten by a spider. Like, oh well.
Yeah, they just leave you, and so there's no fun in that. There's no fun in stuff like that. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah, and I always say, man, listen, what's not for me may be for somebody else. But the problem is there's a lot of stuff like that, and I'm not the only one that's out here saying it. We know what a quality game is versus what filler and fodder is. We know. We don't have to explain the definition. We know when you play game like Halo or Gears of War or God of War, The Last of Us, we know you're getting quality. We know you're getting top shelf. But we also know when you're playing stuff like Grounded and Battletoads and stuff like that, we know you're getting a whole different experience as well, and it's not on that level. So we all need to own up to it and not, start saying, "Oh, but it's fun. You can still have fun." Like, that's damage control. That's what that is. Let's call it what it is. If this is Microsoft's attempt to just throw some stuff out there, just to get some content out there, and they'll work on it and they'll let the teams fix it, and over the years, they need to come out and say it. They did it with Sea of Thieves. It looks like that's been successful for them. You know what I'm saying? It took them a year to get some content and get stuff going.
#1 on Steam.
Yeah, but you can't count that, right? Because every new game that comes out is always #1. And it fluctuates every day. It fluctuates every hour. Horizon Zero Dawn was #1 2 days. I mean, that game
hasn't even come out yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see my point? So.
Yeah.
Okay, J-Dub, let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this. This legit question. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry, bro.
No, go ahead, go ahead, man.
So,
go ahead.
Matty B was on the record for Microsoft saying that their goal is to have AAA bangers, and then in between those, they want to supplement those with some AA hits. Overall, do you disagree with that strategy? You think it should be just a string of AAA bangers and no AA's? And do you call AA filler, or does it have to be less than AA for you to call it filler?
No. I think you should have all. It should be all. Your whole roster should be a big range of stuff, right? Because I know, and I have friends. All they play is indie games. All they play is the little small games, right? They won't jump into The Last of Us or God of War or Halo or something. They just won't do it, right? You have to have a range of games. Sometime, I'm not gonna lie, after I finished the which was a long experience. Prior to that, I was playing Death Stranding, which is super long experience. And prior to that, I was on Days Gone, which is super long. I needed something in between, right? I needed to take a break. So in that between time from The Last of Us 2 to what do you call it? Ghost of Tsushima, in between that time, I was playing little small games, like little games that wouldn't take up much of my time.
Like Concrete Genie?
No, not that because that's old. I already played that and beat that. But
Okay.
I just got into like I completed Life is Strange, right? Something like that. Just it wouldn't take much of my time, and I wouldn't have to do a lot of fighting and stuff.
Not
you
as
can get it.
You're saying.
Yeah, you can get exhausted. I even jumped over, back onto my Switch, playing stuff from the Switch because I want the small experience because I don't want to get stuck. It's hard to go from one big game to another big game. You waste a lot of time in life, man. So I'm, got a big game coming. Okay, I'm gonna do that. That means there's gonna be 3 weeks of my life going to be used for that one particular game. And then after that, I need a smaller break in between. You'll get burnt out. I'm on PC, I'm on Xbox, and I'm on PlayStation and the Switch. So that's what it is. But I think Microsoft should have all of the above. Now, here's the thing. What Matt Booty said, because I have the video of his exact words. He said they invested into AA and indie studios. And they're going to try to push those AA and indies almost to the quality of AAA without it being AAA budget so they can release more content. That means it's quicker to have an indie game or a AA game within 2 to 3 years versus a AAA game that takes 5 and 6 years. It's just they don't have enough time. They need games to come out and be consistent in Game Pass.
But you saying that he said they gonna only have AA, not a AA and AAA.
No. Here's the thing. Their AAA, and this is what you got to pay attention to the word. Their AAA, what Microsoft currently have, what they consider AAA, is their Halo, Gears, and Forza. Now, if Fable comes out, right, I think that may be AAA. We don't know. They haven't clarified any of that stuff, right? A lot of people say grounded AAA. They, they'll
not playing.
They'll figure out whatever they
want. No one has said grounded AAA. No one said
nobody said.
No, I'm using that as a. I'm using that as a.
Okay.
Depending on the person, right? Because Enrique, we deal with these people on Twitter every day, and they'll tell you something is top. Exactly, they'll tell you something is top shelf, and we all know it's hanging fruit. But it depends on the person. But being honest with yourself, let's name some AAA games from Microsoft currently. We got Halo, Gears, and Forza. What else? The room is quiet. You see that? So hopefully, some of these other studios.
What about? Can I put in Fable there? Right, the new Fable.
No, I said that earlier.
Oh, you did? Okay,
maybe. I said maybe Fable, but we don't know yet because
Avowed.
We don't have anything to go by, right? I don't know. Avowed, maybe. I don't know. We haven't seen anything from it.
Well, so Jacob, I wasn't silent because I couldn't think of nothing. I wasn't silent because I wanted to answer your question honestly, and I'm not sure if you call the Microsoft multiplats. You can count those, or do you mean specific to the Xbox?
I'm a person, man. I don't care if it's
okay.
Since
Outer Worlds
Xbox
count as a
I think that was a AAA, and I'm looking forward to the DLC as well. So
still your point is still made. It's still only one more, so your point is valid.
So here's another point, right, to hit this home. Let's take away 3 of Sony's top tier games, and then we're gonna find out more AAA. Let's take away God of War, The Last of Us, and Uncharted, right? Okay. We still got Spider-Man. We still got Ghost of Tsushima. We still got Days Gone. We still got we had Horizon. We still got we had Death Stranding. We still got we could probably still keep going, right? Ratchet and Clank. We still got some more stuff, right?
Yeah.
So even though you took their 3 main showcase games away, you still got the Gran Turismo, right? They still have a bunch of other AAA that's out there that Sony was able to kill off Uncharted and not miss a sleep. If Microsoft was to kill off Forza, that would put them in such a big hole. I mean, that would be devastating to Xbox, right?
Okay.
That shows you, right? Sony was able to capitalize this generation with a bunch of brand new IP, AAA IP, whereas Microsoft didn't really create. They didn't nurture the AAA IP that they have now. They did have AAA IP. All their launch games were AAA IP. They just deaded them. They you know
They did,
just
yeah.
they deaded them.
Facts.
So
Yeah, this is not arguable. This is all facts.
yeah. So I just think, right, going forward, I hope a lot of studios, again, keep in mind, it's not what I'm saying, it's what Matt Booty's saying. I have the video, I post it on Twitter all the time. His own words. They specifically bought these AA and indie studios for a purpose. It's not to turn all of these studios into big blockbuster AAA, because they don't have the time. Microsoft time is against Microsoft at this point, right? They need games and games now. They have a service that is like Netflix, and Netflix thrives on new content. If you don't have the content in there, if the same stuff, the subscription is going to go, people are going to leave. They're going to go to somewhere else. So they rely. That's why Netflix started investing into their own content and started putting new shows and new stuff in there, because they couldn't wait for other people to do it.
Well,
So,
J-Dub, can I interrupt you real quick?
Go ahead, brother.
So, I mean, everything you're saying makes sense, and I don't disagree with it, but I do think that you are overlooking that they're not mutually exclusive. So somebody like Obsidian can have more than one dev team, one working on AA, one working on AAA, so that it's not just one or the other.
I totally agree. But the problem comes in is when I ask you, okay, well, what are they working on? Well, none of us know. And so we're going. So we in the dark. We're still going back to that. Well, they could have or they should have, but we just don't know. They showed us this show. They showed us a lot of IPs. They showed us a lot of what the studios are working on. A lot of them are in pre-production, but we have, as gamers, we did ask them to show us the roadmap, and they did. So I'm okay with that. I don't have no qualms with it. That's better than me not knowing. But the problem is time is not on their side. They have a brand new console launching in 3 months, and yet a lot of the content that gamers are looking forward to is going to come out in 2023, 2022, maybe. I mean, we really don't know. When is Fable dropping? When is Avowed dropping? We don't know. You know, Horizon, Forza, the new Forza Motorsport, which I'm interested in. You know, again, who knows?
Yeah.
What's the Everwild game? It looks beautiful. I can't wait to play it. But right now, they don't even know.
They don't even know what it is yet.
I'm hating on that one myself, because I don't know what it is, and I'm sick of looking at them waving them sticks around without telling me what's going on.
But guess what? I'm excited for Kena on the PlayStation 5, and that's dropping. That's supposed to be dropping in either 2020 or 20. So at least I have some kind of roadmap of, hey, that's going to be in the near future. Versus, I mean, we don't know. Some of these games, could be 4 or 5 years away. And listen, I'm not knocking Microsoft on that. They had to start somewhere, right? They didn't invest for 3 whole years, so they're literally 3 years behind. We have to give them a time. The problem is time is not on their side. People are not going to sit idly by and wait. Well, some people won't. Some people will, and wait for that stuff to come. And there's no guarantee. Code. That's the problem. There's no guarantee that even when these games come out, what if they come out, right? You waited all these years for, let's say, Avowed, and it turns out to be a fucking card game. What if it's a 50
like
Metacritic game?
Yeah,
it's janky, and then Microsoft said, "Don't worry about it. It's in Game Pass. We're going to work on it for the next couple of years, and we're going to update it like we did Sea of Thieves." That's what scares me. That scares me. That
Okay, let's talk about that. Why? Why do you think that one leads to the other? Why do you think Game Pass leads to them improving games over time? Whereas if they didn't have Game Pass, they would.
Let me tell you
We've
why.
Seen it.
Listen, it happened to Sea of Thieves. It's happening to Grounded, right? It literally is happening to Grounded. They literally said it.
So I disagree with you already. I don't think it happened to Sea of Thieves. I think Sea of Thieves was designed to be like an MMO from the very beginning, and every MMO starts with a certain amount of content, and you increase it over time. That is nothing unique to Sea of Thieves or Game.
Listen, I want to push back on that, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
This game, Sea of Thieves, I was on it day one. I was even in the beta.
I was too. Yeah.
Right. It launched with very little content, a bunch of fetch quests, and then that was it.
I mean, well, you can still get the pirate legend.
No. Listen. So over time, they've been able to add other content and other stuff and other things to do to make it a better experience and to make it where it makes you want to go back in it, right? The same thing is going to be happening to Grounded. They've said Microsoft has said that, not me.
Sure, but you're saying that Sea of Thieves is improved over time the same way World of Warcraft was improved over time is because it was in Game Pass, not because it's an MMO.
No, listen, Game Pass, listen, this is not even debatable. Game Pass is their service. It is their, whether we like it or not, it is their service. It's where all their games are going to be.
I got no problem. I'm not
all their games that they're making, everything that they have right now, evolves around Game Pass. It's where it's going. Now, I don't want my messaging to come off being inaccurate of what I'm trying to say. Let me clarify what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Is that I don't, like I said earlier, I'm scared we're going to end up, and this is going to be the new norm, where Microsoft will put games out there. Another mental note, Bleeding Edge, right? You put games out there that may not be the highest quality or caliber. It may be lack of content, but their plans is over time. I mean, I can't be more clear than this. Look at Halo. They've even said this is the last Halo. They're going to evolve this thing over time. This is definitely going to be right up there with their plans. So this is multiple games we're seeing going down this path. I'm not saying every game is going to be like. I'm just. So this is my fear because like you're saying multiple games.
Okay, all right. So let's take those one at a time. It seems like you're saying that with each one of those, if Game Pass wasn't there, that wouldn't happen. That they're only taking this route.
I agree.
Real quick, I want to say something about Sea of Thieves because Nate brought up a great point. Like Sea of Thieves is more like PvP. At least from my experience, it was. You know, like.
Well, I mean,
I wouldn't consider like a traditional.
There's AI in there. There's AI.
Yeah, there is AI, but
it's fun. It's better for PvP, but it's better for PvP. But you can play it solo with the AI.
It's definitely better. For
PvP. You can, but
and that game, I believe that game at launch was a full title, was a full $60 title.
It was a full $60 title.
I know because I paid for it.
I did too. I got the little collector's thing.
Now, here's the thing, Optimus, right? I wouldn't have had a problem with that if at that time, this game going forward from the beginning, hey guys, we're gonna drop this game in Game Pass. As long as you got Game Pass, this game is gonna be free. And we're just gonna update this.
Pre-ordered it before they announced Game Pass.
I know, and that's kind of the that's kind of the thing, right? But you know what? That's what we get for being early adopters. Anytime you're early adopter, it happens, right?
Real quick,
so I'm not gonna go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Code. I think what some of the concern potentially, I think from the gaming community is that we'll see games broken released on Game Pass, and it will be it's not a big deal because.
I understand
you're getting it for free. Yeah, like
I mean, I know people feel that way. I just don't see why they feel like. What evidence is there to support this claim?
Halo Master Chief Collection, being one. That game's kind of just like it. To me, it doesn't even work on Game Pass still. Like it doesn't work for whatever reason. Like I've heard people say you need to buy
PC. It works fine for me.
No, man, I've had lots of issues with it, man. Like it doesn't launch. I've had to reinstall, install. Now
that's on PC. Been an issue for years.
Yeah, I'm talking about PC. Yeah, I'm talking about PC.
Yeah, who cares about PC?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But there is an idea that some people are concerned with that because of things like Sea of Thieves, or the quality of content might not be on par because they need to release games to keep engagement. That's not so much about quality as much as about maintaining engagement, people into the subscription, because Microsoft is, from a reporting standpoint now, not reporting on necessarily consoles sold, but engagement numbers as relates to Game Passes. As Xbox, really, if there's anything that we learned from this show, that Microsoft has pivoted away from the hardware. It is solely Game Pass is Xbox now. That is the bottom line. Like there's no
that's my point.
Ands, buts about it. And we had Code. I don't know if you listened to the BRAP podcast this Wednesday. We had Hogue on, Hogue Law. He brought up a very interesting point. He said, he said that it really is not necessarily about them selling the Series X as much as it is with Game Pass, because whatever they did, they probably went behind the scenes to the board, and they probably have a number in mind where they need to get to engagement, and that's the end goal for them right now, getting those engagement numbers up. And he said at some point there's a lot of, he said they have to thread the needle with this one, how to make this profitable, how to keep people engaged. But he did bring up some questions regarding Game Pass, and I think that like guys like me and J-Dub bring up like what we're talking about with, games may be released on Game Pass because they're not finished. Like Game Preview, we know Grounded's in Game Preview are now in Game Pass. Some people think maybe we'll see a lot of more of those types of games that maybe aren't finished in Game Pass because they're under the guise of free. As opposed to, it's probably easier pill to swallow if you're
not
paying.
Free. You have to pay for Game Pass.
Yeah, but if you're paying, $14.99 a month, and you're getting 200 games, and a couple of those games out of the 200 aren't finished games, I mean, versus.
All right, so let me chime in here. So again, I don't dispute anything that you guys are saying, and I understand why you're saying it. Again, I still don't see the evidence. So you guys have said some things. Well, J-Dub did, but you, Enrique, just said some things that were contradictory. You said that games will go in Game Pass not finished, and then you, as your example, you used a game that was in preview. A game that's in preview is not finished, and they had preview well before Game Pass, so a preview game is not related to Game Pass in any capacity.
Okay, so Optimus.
Yeah, and I get that, Code, but I think what
if they slap that? What if they slap that? What you just said, the Insider. What do you call the game that's not
that Xbox preview?
Preview. What if they start slapping the sticker on all their games going forward?
I mean,
that means
that is a good point, and that's what I'm saying. Now, once I seen some evidence of that, then we could have the conversation. But right now, that's like asking me, what if a meteor hit the Earth tomorrow? Like,
well, I mean, that's a good, but you can't have that. But Cole, we can't have that conversation what if a meteor hits Earth? We've had a few drive-bys or flybys. So you can't have that conversation. Code, I
hold on. I had another point I wanted to make real quick.
Go ahead.
And so I think y'all also missing, and this one right here, and this is why I stopped coming on these podcasts, because I was getting myself in trouble saying stuff that I shouldn't say. So
don't worry about it. I do it all the time, brother.
Oh man, do you have people yelling at you like, bro, calm down with that? This is like private information. So here's the thing. I think we need to make sure we're paying attention to, and we'll just use Obsidian as an example because I know nobody in Obsidian, so this is clearly just a made-up example. I don't think it's the case where Obsidian says our game's not ready and Microsoft says, yes, it is because we need it in Game Pass, so you release it whether it's done or not. I'm fairly confident that Obsidian has the control over when they release their titles, and that there isn't, at least as far as I know, for the people that I've talked to, there has been zero pressure from Microsoft to influence them to speed up or reduce quality so we can hurry up and get it in Game Pass or any of that type of thing. Now, if that did happen, I agree that there would be cause for concern. But now, I just haven't seen any evidence.
No. I don't
stuff in Game Pass.
No. I don't think. Right, and maybe I can speak for Enrique as well. I don't think we're saying that they're on purposely, mischievously forcing developers to put stuff out there. Right. Okay. I just think that. I mean, whether you have Game Pass or not, we all know. Everybody on this panel right now has Game Pass, and I'm not gonna lie, 90% of it is a fodder.
See, what do you call fodder? That's what I asked you earlier, like double A or below double A.
I don't want to listen. I don't want to assign.
Jay, would you say it's just the quality is probably not there, regardless of designation of A or double A?
Let's focus on quality, right? Because once you start, code, just like what you're saying, getting yourself in trouble. Once I start assigning a double A indie to it, then people are gonna say, "Oh, Jay,
they're gonna be at you."
And all I do is see him play indies. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna fall in that trap. But quality, if we can focus on quality.
Fair enough.
Cool. Let's just say quality, right? Yeah, people see me playing Sea of Thieves. They see me playing the other games or whatever, right? And again, it goes back to sometimes I don't want to play big long games. I'm kind of exhausted. I'm taking a little
Yes,
break,
sir.
right? Or I just want to
Yep.
have, a beer, chill out with my friends, talk, play a
Play
little, a
Grounded.
little something.
Play like
Yeah,
Grounded.
just waste some time, a time waster. Something I can unplug from and not care
Yep.
about my
Exactly.
progress or anything.
Mhm.
That's where I'm coming. But if we focus on quality, we're talking about the difference between a Gears of War 5 and a difference between like a Bleeding Edge. Now I get it. A lot of people like Bleeding Edge, or they may say they like it, even though we've seen there's only like 8 people playing it. Literally, there's only like 8 people in the world playing it. We have the screenshot captures and stuff. So after about a week and a half, that game was dead. But it goes back to the quality. If I'm not gonna lie, if Microsoft had a lot of AAA and a lot of maybe even some really big deals in there, maybe it would lessen the rejection of it. Maybe it would help a lot. But it's that mind share. It's kind of like PlayStation Now, man. There's a lot of AAA. There's a lot of Sony IPs in that thing. But people always go back to that initial time that they tried it out years
That's
back.
true. Facts.
And they move forward with it, right? So here in 20, it's a great service. It doesn't have really no issues. It has a ton of freaking IPs. You got your Spider-Mans, you had your God of Wars, and people still go back to that initial back when they tried it back in 2015 or whatever. And so that's a big hill that they're gonna have. And I hate to say it, but even with Microsoft, they have a hill to climb when it comes to selling Game Pass to a lot of gamers. And that's where we are.
I got a question for Code.
Yeah.
So Code, like, I guess, and please, if you remember, refresh my memory here with regards to, like game previews or what I call demos, right? You remember like demo disc and stuff like that back in the days, or
and you get your Xbox magazine and they have a
demo disc,
magazine,
yeah. So, but I guess like with like a game like Ark, I think was free, right? You just downloaded it. It was
that was another one. They improved it over like Ark. But now it's nothing like what it was when it first dropped.
But you don't. Yeah. But even like on the PC side, like with other game previews, right? Like you're not necessarily paying for those. And I think the concern is like with something like Grounded, while it's designated game preview, you're having to pay to get into that game preview. Yeah. Where I think historically game previews you didn't have to pay to necessarily play them, right?
No, I mean I
it depends. It depends on the game. All the time. Yeah, it depends on the game.
On Steam that I pay for to get the preview and to help improve.
Okay.
Yeah,
people don't remember with Fortnite when it first came out, before it had the Battle Royale mode. I paid for it. I bought it was like the Master's license or something. And that gave me 3
Founders.
The Founders. It gave me 3 licenses to share with my friends, and it kind of had a little, not really a story, but it was okay. I kind of felt like I wasted my money. But then once they came out with the Battle Royale that was free, it turned up, and then that was the game. It's like, man, I remember being in this game day one, and it was crap, and all of a sudden now it's like the best thing ever for a lot of people. So
so if y'all are saying if y'all are saying because of Microsoft's current reputation and position in the marketplace, we think that this will lead to decisions from them to help overcome that. I mean, I can understand why people would think that. I still personally would look for evidence to support it. Like people in the chat saying there is evidence. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, I think what we're saying is it's almost like it's a question. Like I don't think Jay or myself included. I don't think we think it's an absolute, but it's almost like a you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Well, people on my timeline has been telling me that Game Pass is going to destroy the industry. And we headed for another video game crash like in the 80s.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I will say that when you bring up that point, Code, you got to go back and listen to BRAP this week, man. Hogue brought up a great point about the devaluation of gaming that could happen through Game Pass, and he used the example of the Apple Arcade. And buying, I think games like games on that
games for gold. Yeah.
Basically, what he said, I'm paraphrasing. He said something to the effect that it could present an opportunity where now the value that gamers put on games is going to be tied into the $15 a month. So gamers may say, you know what, I don't believe this game is worth 60, what developers trying to charge me, but rather 15, right?
Yeah.
And he used Apple Arcade
we are
like saying
we
that,
already have people, Enrique. You and I both know people that have said, you guys are crazy for buying games. Just get Game Pass and you get all your games for free. So guess what? If these people have this mindset already, then the other games that do come out, they're not going to buy the games or buy them day one. And that inherently hurts the developer.
So I think Code. I think maybe that's where some of that's coming from. Now I was around and I was young, not as I think you were like 25, Code, when the industry crashed. But you know, I just mess with you, Code. You know, but I remember ET, and I remember that's why Nintendo, the entertainment system, if for those who don't remember, it was called the entertainment system, and why they launched it with Rob the Robot, because they wanted to present it as more of a toy than an actual game console, right? Hence the entertainment system, because of the crash. But I think some of that Code is where maybe that perception of ruining the industry. Now again, I'm not buying into that, but I did think Hogue brought up an excellent point when he said, you know, the issue of devaluation could be a thing as the consumer base is, wait a minute, I don't think this game is valued at $60 because I'm paying $15 and I'm not paying for anything more than what that $15 gets me, right? And he used the Apple Arcade as example, or apps. Huh?
People already, I'm sorry, that was rude of me to jump in. I do apologize.
No, go ahead, man.
There are people that I know, like I'm not one of them, but there are people that I know that refuse to buy a game at $60 right now. They'll either go to GameStop or they'll wait for some sale if it's digital. Like they may be exasperated more if Game Pass is successful. I don't know. I'm not I can't prognosticate that, but I think that mentality already exists, is what I'm saying. And I think the people like me, you, and Jay are not normal.
Yeah, we might be a dying breed. Like I've come to accept that
Could
too.
be,
you know?
man. I know I'm a dinosaur, man. I'm 39, man.
39, oh, man, you a baby.
Eventually, I'm gonna hit that 4-0, man. That's gonna be it. Ride off into the sunset.
It's all love over here, Jay. People, man.
Real quick, I want to introduce Forte, who just joined us. What's up, Forte? And then I got to go to Optimus Opcode. Chief Tomei with the $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Says Optimus Code, would you please answer my question? I don't know what question he had asked you, Code.
I do. He says, does the idea of working on the game for 10 years sound like some good old burnout fuel and restrictive on creativity? And the answer to that question is going to be, it depends. It really does depend. And so I agree with Paris, whatever his name is, that J-Dub or Jay Barry, one of y'all had posted the video and he was like, you know, instead of buying the game every year, get it once in, you just get an update. It's the same game, they improve it. So for me, it depends. I think that is a great idea for certain types of games. For example, Madden. I 100% would much rather them update Madden every year, give me new rosters, new moves, new juke moves or whatever, than having to pay $60 every year for a barely different game. Same with 2K. So depending on the game, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I do not think that it leads to burnout or lack of creativity because, for example, the God of War team, they worked on it for 7 years and they probably starting on the sequel now. I doubt very seriously that they are burnt out or feeling any lack of creativity. And often games will start with the current game's mechanics and improve on them over time. It happened with The Last of Us 2. They didn't really introduce anything new, but they refined what was already there. That being said, there could be cases where it does do that. So it's just going to be really highly dependent on the game, the type of game that it is, the developers, how it's managed. I would say it's a danger there that you certainly need to be careful, but I will not say that you just have to blanketly say, oh man, this is just bad and it's going to lead to all of these problems. It's really going to depend.
I'll rebut it. I'm not going to rebut, but I'll add to what you're saying. I'm a believer in this, right? I started gaming Atari 2600, the NES, keep going down the line, right, all the way. So I've seen companies come, I've seen companies go, I've seen trends come, I've seen trends go.
Yep.
Just some years ago, the Ouya was supposed to take the industry by storm, but everybody was changing their business model to free to play and
Code,
and
did you
all
develop
kind of
for
other
Ouya?
stuff.
Stop it.
You know, no, seriously. This is in the Steam machine was supposed to take over. I've seen
I
stuff
remember
come.
that.
What
Yeah,
happened
right.
to the Steam machine? Remember those controllers?
Yeah. Listen, one thing that I've learned is that the gamers themselves will dictate what's going to survive and what's not going to survive. It won't be a corporation. It's going to be the gamers.
Yeah.
If gamers in whole, right? If millions of gamers just start picking up on Game Pass and just start going, and little by little they just start cranking up there, it's going to be there for the long haul. And there's nothing nobody can do to change that, right? I don't think there's anything to fear per se. I just think that the majority of the gamers, even Xbox gamers, they are used to traditional gaming, and we all want traditional gaming, stuff that we've had since the beginning of gaming. Anytime you have something that changes or bucks that system, there's a fear there. And there's a fear because we did have a scare in the gaming industry back in the 80s with the whole, Atari stuff with the ET and stuff like that, where the industry was flooded with a bunch of fodder, low quality broken games. And these, unfortunately, back then, those were full priced games. And we didn't have review copies. We didn't have the internet to be able to tell you what you're getting. All we had was a stick, a box that had the picture of ET on it. You didn't know how that game looked.
And you couldn't return them. Once you opened the package, you had to keep
return it.
No trade-ins. No trade-ins.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, guys. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was just saying. So I think that's where that fear comes from. But gamers will dictate what's going to be there or not. And at the end of the day, good quality games will last and they will sell. They will win awards. They will sell like hotcakes, and the rest of the stuff won't. It is what it is. Yeah.
Real quick, guys, I'm going to give Forte a last word, and I got to wrap up the podcast here because I hear my kids upstairs running around crazy. Yeah. What's up, Forte? I'm going to give you the last word here, sir. Before we wrap up.
That was a good show yesterday, wasn't it?
What's that?
The last word. That was a good show yesterday.
Oh, yes, dude. Forte. That was a great show, man. You know what, man? I was like, yo, they got to get Forte on here more, man. You should really, I don't know if, that was a great show, man. It really was, man. I was
at home in the ecosystem. That's why.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were.
No, man. But look, man, I'm not gonna come in here and like blast y'all for the crazy stuff y'all were talking on this show because 90% of it was totally correct.
We were only saying it because you were in the.
Oh, I know. Well, I know you were only saying it because I was in the chat. I know you were spicing it up. You flare up in the chat. I was like, oh my God, come on. So for me, Microsoft has always had an uphill battle. I realized this back in the 7th generation when they had a year head start and they blew that lead. And Sony always has had the market when it comes to like just what people gravitate to. PlayStation will always be one, Nintendo will always be that second thing, and Microsoft will always be in the rear. That's just the nature of how that works. Microsoft just needs to do even better at their home bases where they are right now, and that's where they truly drop the ball here. So a lot of things like that is definitely just baffling upon that. But for me, I always tell people this. I was like, when I saw that reveal, I was disappointed, only for the most part because they just didn't show Halo in the right light. Halo was a very my excitement
gameplay mechanics look good though, Forte. That's I think.
That's what I'm saying. When I first saw it for the first time, I didn't look at that trailer as like it was terrible because I looked at it as like, oh, dude, this looks fire. I can't wait to play this. But then, once you start going in and depicting exactly what's happening in the environment, you go grab screenshots and you go grab footage for videos and stuff, and you notice that there's no the sun is literally shining, but there's no shadows on the ground. You start seeing the pop in all over the place. You start seeing the depth of field's not as transparent as it needs to be in the game. Then you start seeing that stuff, and you're just like, okay, well, this game has a ways to go. And I still think it has a ways to go. And if they can pull out some magical pill and get this thing up to snuff in the next 3 to 4 months, that would be incredible. I don't see it happening. I am firmly with not releasing this game at launch, but I do understand why they showed it, because at this point, if you have this event and don't show Halo,
they have to.
You're going to have the same. People are going to be like, well, why are they afraid to show Halo? So you're going to get the same backlash no matter what.
Well, Forte, can you say the same thing about you? We can say the same thing about the Xbox Series X. Why isn't it, right? We're 3 months for launch and we have yet to see any games running on the hardware itself. That's a problem. All this stuff is running on PC.
Well,
why do you think that's the case?
Because PC is the best platform. That's why.
Yeah, it's the best platform to shut stuff off on. But see, listen. I've been telling people this for a while, and it's not an excuse. It's just a simple fact that as of right now, on paper, the console. If you think the system ain't gonna run games and look amazing, then you're fooling yourself. Just the specs alone are gonna push it. Now the problem is they're not showing the system in the light of where that power is being used. So people thinking that the Series X is it going to be a great system? Is it going to be that next generation leap in graphical fidelity? Well, not graphical fidelity, but in just performance that people want. You're fooling yourself. It will have that. It's just that Microsoft, for some strange reason, is afraid to actually bring out a game that really showcases that, and they rely on the third party to do it, like they did with the Xbox One X.
Well,
and that's the problem. But until Microsoft, I mean, and this may change throughout the generation. You know, they might get to a point where they start showcasing a lot of their first party games like that. And like you said, Jay, the biggest thing is they're so far behind the 8 ball because they had these huge fights back and forth with Phil Spencer and Terry Myerson for the first 3 years of the Xbox One being out and not being able to get the funding for the stuff that they wanted to make for the games and buy all these studios. It took a while to do that. Now, once they done it, now we got to start seeing the fruits of the labor. You know, we heard about this stuff back in 2017. That's when they started doing it. Now we're 3 years later. Now we're starting to see what games they have coming out, but we still don't have an idea what these games are. We just see either screenshots or CGI trailers showing off what the games could be, but we don't truly know what it's going to be. I also think that they're setting themselves up for a failure when it comes to showing games like State of Decay 3 looking like it could be the next best great looking game, and I've never seen a State of Decay game look like that before. Now, if they can pull that off, that would be pretty amazing. But ultimately, I don't see that game looking anywhere close to being that, especially when the last two haven't been there. But this is all just to tie the bow up for me, and I've been telling Enrique this for a while. I'm not buying an Xbox for Xbox games. I haven't done that in a freaking while. I don't believe in the games that Microsoft released on a consistent basis and to make me want to have the platform for that. I told Rick, if I can get my friends to go over to PC and we can all play on PC and have a ball, that's what I'm going to do. PlayStation sold me a PlayStation when I played God of War. I knew I was going to buy the next one with the moment that came out. I bought my PS4 not even knowing there was a God of War coming out. So that is just a brand recognition that they have that most companies don't have. And Microsoft has a long way to even get into that point. So people keep saying, why should I? They haven't shown me how to buy an Xbox. Don't buy one. You literally don't have to buy one. And the fact that the community keeps talking about, well, it's a misstep. You know, they're trying to show off a new system and they're not showing games for it. But who cares? They don't even really care about you buying that system. Yeah, they sit out there and say that it's the power of the system, but they're only appealing to the people that only buy consoles. They're not talking about the vast majority of people that play on other things and other systems. Like you might have a PlayStation and have a PC. They're talking to you saying, hey, you can play these games. You don't have to buy our Xbox. Play it on PC. If you got a PC and a PlayStation, that's $5. You're in the ecosystem. That's what Enrique is doing. But then there's the people that play on Xbox that have regular Xboxes or Xbox One S's, and they have Xbox One X, and they want to stick in the ecosystem because that's where their games and their friends are. This is going to be the next generation step for you. Now, do you have to do it day one? No. Maybe 3-4 years from now will be the beneficial time to do it. But don't buy this system unless you have a reason to buy it. You know, I can't harp that enough. Don't waste your money, because I swear, if I see you guys go out, and this is everybody in the chat, you guys on the show. If I see you guys on Twitter going off on a system that y'all paid $500-$600 for in a year from now, I'm gonna say the same thing. Why the hell did you buy this system in the first place if you're complaining about the offerings that Microsoft is giving you? They are pretty much showing you the roadmap for the next 3 years and saying none of this stuff's gonna be here. If you want to play Halo on Xbox One X, Series X, go ahead, but you don't have to. So just remember, it's a lot of screenshots being taken about all of this conversation going on. So don't buy this system and complain a year from now because they didn't give you what you wanted. That's all I got to say. I'm just letting y'all know.
Well, hold
Forte's
on.
got
Forte.
receipts.
Okay,
So go ahead.
Enrique, you saying we got to end the show? We cannot have this conversation with Forte?
You get your words in.
You could get a word in real quick, man.
You gonna get your bars in. Go ahead.
Well,
Right.
I mean, clearly, I'm a firm believer in letting the platform holder know what you think and how you feel, and for them to improve it. And I do not believe that you just take what they give you and don't.
Oh, absolutely not. You don't do that.
Okay. All right, we good then. We good.
Oh no, you don't do that. No. See, I'm good.
What about
I'm
the
good.
gamers,
Wait,
though?
no, listen. I'm good with people going at 343 and telling them how trash that demo looked to them. I'm good with that. I'm good with people telling Phil Spencer, like, stop talking about how we're the most powerful system and you're not going to show off the games for that system. I'm good with people doing that. But the problem I have is when people go on podcasts or go on these shows and make it seem like the whole freaking community is acting like they're blind to the fact. Like, I'm sorry, I'm part of this community, and I know people, as much as I know people ain't talking about me, I kind of struck the middle of a lot of these conversations because I'm not loyal to any of these freaking platforms. The game I play the most is a third-party platform that's played across all fucking consoles. That's literally where my lane is, and that's literally the only reason I'm buying the next system is because of that one reason. But when people go out and make it seem like their opinion doesn't matter because it doesn't agree with someone else's opinion, that's where I got a problem. So ultimately, all those people that are out here saying that the system is trash and they go out and buy it, and then they come back a year later and they say this system is still trash, I'm gonna look at you and be like, why did you buy it in the first place when I told you not to? And on top of that, Microsoft told you 60 different ways that you shouldn't buy it because none of the content that you might want for it is coming out any damn time soon. That's all I'm saying.
Forte, most gamers just don't want to accept that.
I know that.
It's right. They don't want to accept that. They do want Microsoft to go back and forth with Nintendo and Sony for our dollars, and whether they don't want to do it or not, it's up to them. That
ship has sailed years ago. Absolute years ago. Anybody that thinks that Microsoft wants to compete with Nintendo and Sony in that marketplace, ship has sailed. Microsoft is they're in a predicament now because their games were not selling. Their games weren't selling. And what did they have to do? They literally took all of their stuff and said, how do we get maximum impact with our IPs? We have to at least release games for our system. So how do we do that? Oh, we have this service called Xbox Live that at one point had close to like 50, 60 million people in it. Oh, how if we just integrate a game service around that's going to give people the ability to just, still have ownership of the games as long as they're a part of a service. Oh, Netflix can do it very easily. And guess what? They're not even profitable, but they still find a way to do it because guess what? It only takes 3 or 4 hot things to hit a service and everybody will subscribe to it. Netflix, if you search through Netflix, it is more trash in that service than anything. But guess what? It's the 5 or 6 great things that they put out every year is what sustains the service for the whole year. That's the market, and that's the idea that Microsoft wants to get to. I don't know how long it's going to take them to get to that point. I don't even know if they're going to make it to that point, but I do know this. If Microsoft does not win with Game Pass, there will be no Xbox going forward, because this, I truly believe this is the last stand for Xbox, because they already devalued the box enough. They care about the box, but they don't care about it enough to say you absolutely have to have the box to buy our system. So the system's already been devalued in that market. Now they're basically saying, just like the whole Ninja and Shroud and Gothalion thing, we're going to spend millions and billions of dollars to get these studios under our umbrella. Same thing they did with Mixer. And guess what? If Game Pass does not save them, they will turn the faucet off and become a third-party developer, just like they just axed Mixer.
Like
and Xbox won't be a thing no more. It would just be a publisher at that point. And I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Like Sega. Enrique, I think you and I for years have kind of been saying that Microsoft may be going the way of Sega.
I mean, they could. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
They have all these studios, right? Is Microsoft?
They could. I mean, I think the end game. I think if Microsoft could get Game Pass on like PlayStation or
they tried recently,
or Nintendo,
they got turned down.
Look, they're not gonna look. They're everything is Azure focused for Microsoft right now as a company in general. Anything that's gonna feed services, revenue, like through subscriptions, they're all about it. If they can. If they can get, Game Pass on Nintendo, on Sony, they would do it. In a heartbeat, they would do it. Don't be surprised to see if you see Game Pass on TV sets, as an Xbox app. I mean, that I could totally.
I mean, they got that partnership with Samsung.
Yeah, with Samsung. I mean, so it's not. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about them maybe going like Sega, but I think that they probably, if I don't know, just my guess, they favor that.
I think the one. Yeah, I think the last thing is us being, and it hurts for me to say that, trust me, because I work for a company that relies on this stuff, but it ultimately comes down to, it's just the writing's kind of on the wall with this company. Like the same thing happened with Nintendo back in 2013. When that Wii wasn't selling, they pivoted. I mean, when the Wii U wasn't selling, they pivoted really hard off that system. Never seen Nintendo give up on the system as fast as they gave up on the Wii U. Microsoft literally just fought through this whole generation just to they basically took this generation and used it to build the platform that they have now. Now, you may not, us being the type of gamers we are, we're kind of rebellious, like J-Dub said earlier, to a lot of change. Like Microsoft was trying to do such massive changes back in 2013. If you look at what's going on now versus what was happening in 2013, we're absolutely where Microsoft said we would be now. Microsoft, if they would, I sometimes I get pissed at Microsoft because I felt like, I tell you, gaming is a selfish hobby. I thought what they did in 2013 was selfish, but I wasn't mad at it because it didn't affect me. Me in general, I had really good internet. I could play. I already had Xbox Live and could play online. I was going to buy the new system no matter what. So to me, what they were saying may have sound crazy, but it wasn't like, well, it's not going to stop me from buying the system. But guess what? In 2020, look where we are. Most of everybody's systems online to a certain extent. We got services. We got sharing of your content everywhere. So it's going to get there sooner or later. It's just how long it's going to take.
Guys, real quick, I do have to go.
Go. Get out of here.
Yeah, I got to go. And some great points. I don't mean to cut you guys off, but I do got to get going. But I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat for coming out, hanging out with us here for about almost 3 hours for this BRAP rant. And I really appreciate the support, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and hit the bell notification so you're notified when we go live. And also want to give a big shout out and thank you to the guest panel members here, J-Dub, Optimus Code. Great to see you back on BRAP, man. It's been like a minute since we had you on, man. So
man.
Yeah, glad you could hop in real quick and join us. And J-Dub, always a pleasure, man. And Gaming Forte, salute to you, sir. Thank you again for hopping in. And everyone,
Your chat is savage, man. Your chat is savage.
I mean, what you talking about? They're peaceful. They're peaceful people.
Hey, they going at 14.
Yeah, they're
that's
coming at you.
nothing new.
Gregor Von Doom is, yeah.
Gregor Von Doom go after me all the time. Gregor, I need a new. I need make me a new emblem.
Gregor was yeah. So
they said don't buy this console. Forte 2020.
Yeah. So everyone enjoy.
Right,
Hey,
don't buy it.
everyone, please enjoy the rest of the weekend. If you have a PlayStation 4, please play Ghost of Tsushima. It is an amazing game. It's probably my game of the year. On that note, we are out. We'll catch you guys next time.